Saturday. And what is so wrong with counting the cars when I'm on my own? Oh, goodness me. Just in time. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a tiny bit late. I have been running up and down the stairs. No, that's not what I've been doing. I've been not running up and down the stairs. So, yeah, there you go. It makes it sound like I've been doing something that I don't want you guys to know. But I actually just had to go and get my phone charger because my phone's very low. Not that I need it for streaming, but, you know, it's just bad to have an uncharged phone. What riveting conversation. Hello. Hey, everyone, I'm Burgerman. You missed the intro singing. Yeah, you did. You did. It was a banger today, but I didn't actually sing that much of it here because it was, You're not the Only One I Know by The Sundays with the perfect line, it's perfectly fine to sleep in a chair from Monday till Saturday. And what is the harm in voicing a doubt when I'm all alone? Can't remember what I was just going to type on what's it called? On X, the Everything app. Oh, yeah. Guys, I have a heartbreaking update for you, which I don't know if I mentioned yesterday. I think I did, but it's funny. So some Zionist propagandist has apparently discovered that I live in Canada. Which is amazing, seeing as, one, I don't live in Canada. I went there recently, but I do not live there at all. As many of you know, I'm very obviously British, and so I had to admit something, though, which even now I can't really tell the truth, because as you guys know, I just pretended to be British. Hi all, I have something to tell you. I'm not actually British. I just wanted to read out a pre-prepared statement. It was all a ruse. The accent, fake. Learned it watching Prince Andrew clips. True. That's actually true. I just loved his style, and so I imitated him. The teeth, fake. Smashed them up intentionally. Getting this off my chest is an amazing feeling. So yes, to the Israeli propagandists, you got me. You got me. And under your nose this whole time, I lied about visiting Canada. I was there the whole time. Every time you've seen me in the UK, you didn't see me. It was someone who looked a lot like me. And yeah, I pretended to go to Exeter for many years. Didn't actually go. It was all just a ruse. All the videos that were filmed there, AI. My interviews with Ilan is actually Grok, if you didn't know. Grok 3.0 girlfriend mode. Probably shouldn't tell you guys that, but yeah, I had it in girlfriend mode and I was pretending that it was Ilan Pape. Because that's what the pro-Palestine movement does. Perversion. And as well, that's why I can't get my Teddy Glow palette. I don't know why. Chris Kunzer is over party. Yep, Chris Kunzer is indeed over. The thought of you did Amy Dome from Gone. Yep, I don't know what you're talking about, but I did that. And I'm sorry. It was probably a bit silly to pretend to be British for this long. But, you know, what can you do? I don't actually mind. We move on, and I think that's enough of a discussion about that. We'll never mention that again, and you guys all need to go back to pretending that I was British. Never mind, I've actually been doxed. What? I've actually been doxed? What do you mean you've been doxed? I'm sorry to hear that. It's that joke about me talking about Grok. There was a good tweet, though, because obviously this has caused quite a stir. But The Matthew Petty had a great tweet. I like this guy. He's got some good analysis. I think he's a bit of a right winger though, but I don't know. But either way, who cares? His analysis is good. The Save Europa location thing is a less commentary on Indians and more a commentary on Western right wingers. The slop they consume is so simple and repetitive that someone from rural Bachchod, Pradesh, with no English can figure out how to mimic it. It's actually quite an interesting topic that basically the way Elon Musk has set up Twitter to prioritize racist slop that brings on, that like appeals to old people that are like, London has fallen, London has been taken over. That you just say that and publish AI videos and then people will like it, you know? Is Ethan's Basement? Always knew it. Yeah, Ethan's Basement. That's why I can't pay Ethan's Basement, because it's just not happening. Because Canada or something. But yeah, I think that this is there's a funny element to this weekend's all these accounts are Indian, because like, well, it is the most populous country in the world. So, you know, yeah, probably, like, statistically, that's not shocking. Also, like, if the median American idiot could make six figures pretending to be a BJP voter, they would. It's just that the reverse is true in relative terms. The right-wing engagement farmers being Bangladeshi or Indian or Nigerian is a story about currency/wage inequality and basically nothing else. You put it perfectly. If I could make the equivalent of $8,000 a month just posting outrage bait about Nigerian idpol, I'd be proclaiming that Igbo women are loose or whatever. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. People are getting paid by it, and so his response was applies equally to the West and left. It requires a bit more cultural knowledge to successfully post as a leftist. The way to scam leftists as a foreigner is not to hide your identity, but to come up with a sob story. I guess in the case of like some people, yes, scamming liberals is pretty easy on that topic, but I think one of the other ways that you could do it is by, well, it's not really left, but if you were scamming people as pro-Palestine, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the most anti-Semitic accounts are based in other places where they just do engagement farming over like anti-Semitic claims. Yeah, Motasem Dualal, maybe? I'm not actually sure.
Goodness me.
Right. Let's do this.
Just in time. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I've accidentally played myself, so you're probably hearing me twice. We'll start with... I want to start with something beginning with W. We'll do windy. It's a bad guess, but we move. Doubt. We'll try. Ooh. Leeds. We'll try. Ooh. Older. Did I? Ooh. So, I think it's EL. Because it can't be. Yeah, it has to be ELAD. Elgood? Elford? Wait, does it have to be that? No, it could start with D. No, it can't start with D. So it has to start with EL, I think. And then... So it's EL XAD, it could be, or AXD. No, I think it's ELXAD. Motasam al-Dalul. No, it can't start with yeah, I think it's something like this, but plead. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Great guess. Nice. I don't know why I thought the E had to go there. Oh, I hadn't tried the E here. Yeah, cool. Great guess. Thank you for getting that. Charlie with the blue la boo boo. Also, does anyone know if I can add animated emotes? Because Trevor Toe Tales made a great one. Algae was a good guess, but yeah, it's only one. The A's not going to be in multiple places. It can't begin with A. I guess We'll do connections now. Also, whoever's doing the timestamps, I should probably remember your name just to give you a shout out because I'm greatly appreciated. I think you have a paperclip as your profile. Big fan of that. Now I've accidentally started my own this stream. Also, what do you guys... Magenta Dinosaurs. Sorry, I'm getting new glasses this week, but looking over there at your names is very small. Yours and Isaac's chemistry is fucking amazing. The show will be awesome, guaranteed. Yes. I'm very excited. I think the stream yesterday was fun. Thank you so much, Magenta Dinosaurs, for making the timestamps. It's so appreciated.
Sorry, I'm...
La Boo Boo. The Blue La Boo Boo. I could help with that and, like, set up timestamps, but, like, pre-plan them a bit, but yeah. Mickey Mouse, Trivial, Rinky Dink. What's a Rinky Dink? The reason I went for that is because in English that could actually have a link, but it's because it's American, it won't have that. Like, Mickey Mouse largely means something that's a bit plastic. Hello, Ari Kitsuragi. I hope you're good. Hello, Anna Banan, the creator of No Politic here. La Boo Boo. Yeah, I already said that, but I just love La Boo Boo so much. In fact, La Boo Boo. Rinky Dink Mickey Mouse Trivial, and then maybe it is actually something else. Chris outsourcing all labor. Indeed, I have a very helpful community that I'm very grateful for, and I wish I could do more to, like, sort of help people, like, who do stuff for me. It's just obviously, like, you know, I'm not making millions of doing this. Does anyone think that there's another here that could go with this of, like, Trivial, Rinky Dink, Mickey Mouse? Is Glad Hand? Handhead. I'm trying to think of ones here. Excuse me? 2-bit. Oh my god, 2-bit Rinky Dink Mickey Mouse Trivial. Is that it? Yeah, well done. Thank you, whoever put in 2-bit. You're right, 2-bit is the one. I should have got that. And now you're all just spamming Chris La Boo Boos. Sunny Side Up. Flamingo. Calamine lotion? Don't really know what that is. Oh, glad, happy, sunny, merry. Maybe you're right about that. Yeah, oh my god, starting with optimistic words. Yeah, I thought that might be what it was, but I was not getting it, so thanks for doing that. I'm struggling today. Bug bite. Bug. Flamingo, cherry blossom. Did you think what? Yeah, you think that pink things that are one. Things that spin would have been a good one, but... if it goes on bug bites. Calamine, bug bite. Is calamine lotion pink? Oh my god. What are these? I wonder. Oh, things you can scratch. I would argue that that's actually harder than starting with optimistic words. It's funny how they do that, like things you can scratch. I guess that's just me being stupid, though. And also, I guess we'd call them like a scratch card here. Sup, nephew? I thought I was Unk these days because I'm 25. But yeah, we've done that. I guess we could do spelling bee, but we've also got some memey shit to get into. Also, I have to be done by 8 p.m. today because it is Chelsea versus Barcelona, and as you know, I'm a Chelsea fan. We could get algae, which is a good one. Me off. Yeah, the lottery ticket is the thing. I don't think posties are unk yet. Why would posties be unk? It's fine though. Maybe Chelsea can win. More unk than you. I'm 28, turning 29. You is unk status. Is unk chopped? Is unk Mr. Nemo chopped? I don't know, but you might be, I'm afraid. Halogen. Wow, what a guess. Wow, is that a kind of gas? Along? I wonder if it... no, it has to have the E in it. Heel is a way too short one, and you could also have heel like that, right? Healer? No, there's no... Healer Klein? Really great guy? Along is a good one because it's 5 letters, but it doesn't have the E. Unk? We can't get it, but we should try and put it in. I lived in Kent and I'm Chelsea and still couldn't find myself. Yeah, fuck Chelsea in many ways, but yeah. Nobody's perfect. Some people like football. Mate, football's gas. Football's very exciting. I loved watching the mighty Chelsea. Can we watch Chelsea? Can we watch Party? Nah, I'm not watch partying Chelsea with Barca. I want to watch it properly. It's like I watched Chelsea Arsenal. Glean is a good one as well, but I'm hoping to get like one of the longer ones. I always like it to see whether any of you can work out the long ones. Angle works because I don't pay, so it'll just cut me off. Like once I get this, it'll cut me off. Oh my god, genealogy. No, it doesn't have a Y. Angel is a good one as well. Gun. Nangle. Yeah, I'm going to be having a beer or two. You know what I'm like with the beers. Yeah, I'm a headhunter. Yeah, I'm a Chelsea headhunter, mate. Good evening. That's not one of the answers. Anglo. You need an E. Hooligan. Hooligan. Ganghole. Apparently ganghole is not one of the words. Google will be a word, actually. That's one of the longer ones. Engage is a good one as well. Engage. Maybe I'll just go for that and then give up. Analog is spelt like this, though. Yeah, Unk is going crazy on the beers tonight, but it is a school night, so not too many beers for me. Stop typing in, like, trying to get me to say words that have... Because you didn't type in analog, did you? You typed in haggle. I'm going to go for haggle. I'm going to end it there, because that'll kill it for today. We got solid. But those were... I need to get 89 to rank genius, but we could have got to genius if I could guess, like, unlimited guesses. Yeah, you need to use these. Someone already got halogen. What is halogen? A kind of... an element? Yeah, it is. Oh, I'm glad I got that right. It shows you that I've been researching my periodic table for my GCSEs like 10 years ago. Yeah. I know the story of Stamford Bridge. You don't go to school, mate. Mate, it doesn't change. No matter how old you get, you base your life around whether it's a school day or not. You know this. You don't have beers on a Wednesday night, but I got no gym tomorrow, so... halogen. No, halogen's also an element on the periodic table. A group in the periodic table, sorry. Not an element on it, but it's part of the periodic table. That's why I remembered it. Halogens are a group in the periodic table. Generally, they are gases, I think. 6 chemically related. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and tennessine. Though some authors would exclude tennessine as its chemistry is unknown and is theoretically expected to be more like that of gallium. Yeah, so that teaches some of you in here who think that you know everything. Yeah. I have to drive children to school in the... What do you... No, I do not. Did you watch Match of the Day? No, I didn't. The other night I was drinking alcohol-free beers. Sebastian McCrazy, no. Yeah, half in the morning, half tonight. Yeah, probably the best idea. Right, let's get into some... it's going to be a pretty serious stream. How do you guys think I should do it? Slop first, then or slop later? Well, I guess it's not... Calling it slop is actually a disservice. I think that there is something important in this that's just kind of like... Ethan Klein may not be a very nice man, you know? Like, I saw like a story that was allegedly his, but I don't know if it's true or not. But he deleted it. Love the podcast name. Well, thank Anna Banan. She's the one who came up with it. Is Cole Palmer back? No, I don't think so. For a game, I'll bring a 12-pack for us to split. Yeah, I mean, well, if you came over and brought a 12-pack and split it, you'd be getting 1 beer and I'd be having 11, mate. No, I was just driving the other night. One of the nights recently where I was in London, I had to drive back, so I had no alcoholic beer. Anna ate. Anna served. But Henry's been here moderating, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway. It's been a chill little stream so far. Oh, also, by the way, guys, I don't know if I've actually put this in the resource list or if Mediocre has, Mediocre Violist. This is a really good resource, Merip. This article about the Abraham Accords and Sudan's counter-revolution is really good. There's a great bit in here as well. Did you know that, because I was like looking at, lots of people get mad when you make the thing going on in Sudan, like all of the violence and genocide there, something to do with Israel. Read this. Having officially normalized with Israel just weeks before the signing of the Abraham Accords in Sudan, Abu Dhabi positioned itself as a broker and patron, pressuring Sudan to follow suit even in the face of domestic opposition. Emirati officials facilitated a secret February 2020 meeting in Uganda between General Abdel Fattah el-Burhan of the SAF and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Rip Jeffrey Epstein, you would have loved this, conspicuously excluding civilian Prime Minister Hamdok. This sidelining signaled the UAE's preference for Sudan's military rulers. Sorry, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. Military rulers as the proper conduits for normalization. Just 1 week after Sudan reached the normalization agreement and the UAE dispatched more than $500 million of aid to the country. Crazy. Also, how's the volume today? Yeah, China, so did you see that we sold weapons? So yeah, no one should be selling weapons to the UAE for a multitude of different reasons. They've been spewing out weapons across, like, places that are ostensibly you're not meant to sell weapons to for years. But I think that it's just part of weapon sales, and as we increasingly sell them to these countries, they're going to keep on doing these kind of things. But, yeah, in the context of us doing it, China is actually the worst for doing it. Covey, who knows a lot about Sudan, was telling me all about it. She sent me a couple of articles about how Chinese weapons keep being found there. And apparently Chinese officers were advising UAE officials. And the UAE has made, like, military bases throughout the region. In Libya, they kept, like, killing people from them and killing loads of civilians just, like, because they weren't very good at drone warfare. But amazing, or maybe intentionally. They also killed a ton of, like, military cadets who were in uniform but were, like, training, which was just not allowed to do. But of course, like, the blurred world we live in is ridiculous. The volume is fine. Good. Yeah, also, by the way, guys, I just wanted to ask, are you enjoying the VODs? I don't know if all of you will have watched them, but even, like, one today that was not, like, you know, H3 Ethan focused did pretty fucking well, I thought. And I think it's a great way to cut up the streams and attract more people to them, like, frankly. Crazy that Kid Starver wasn't well, I mean, you're saying that, but Keir Starmer's doing amazing things today. I don't know if you would have seen this. You guys are always saying that Britain's on the decline, but this is Keir Starmer's greatest work in years.
Oh, it's not on the same page.
6-7. Yeah. 6-7. Everybody. 6-7. Are you doing page 6-7?
We're not over that yet. We're not over.
This poor teacher is just like, this man is the prime minister of my country. 6, 7.
Still very much a thing.
She's put it up 6, 7. What page?
You got it.
Show me the question.
See you later. That's a bit wild.
Stuff for that lovely 6, 7. You know, children get into trouble for saying that in maths school.
Oh, do they?
The Prime Minister is causing problems even amongst school children.
Right.
Someone said, you're an idiot. Thank you, J-Day Youngin 8617. What for?
Lovely
Well,
children in year 2.
yeah, there we are. Sorry about
No, it's absolutely fine.
that.
It's fine.
I didn't start it, miss.
The VODs are great since you're uploading them here. Does that mean that the... I don't know. We'll work out what to do, what's going on with the second channel. Sorry, there's some dirt on my screen I needed to get off. Stupid prick. I'm not sure if you're talking about me or Keir Starmer. This is probably like the least interesting thing to you guys, but there's this really, really crazy trend amongst football YouTubers. And they just make the worst videos. And I want to see if I can find this one.
Find a 6, 7. Can I? Doing.
This guy just makes like, this is like the quality of football
I
content.
find a 6, 7 item in a football club shop. I made my way to the Leeds United club store to find out. I've got my...
So, and the only thing that's actually interesting about all of this is that someone said, why do they all speak the same way? Sorry, that like, the reason that this is, they talk this way because it's like for people who don't speak like very good English and they kind of just like do trends.
6, 7
This isn't even the worst one though. There's one where he just goes, can I do 6, 7 in a football stadium? And he just goes, 6, 7, 6, 7. And he just does it constantly. It's like, it's actually amazing that this is a thing that's happening in our world. And I know slop is everywhere, but it's truly amazing. Someone said, all streamers makes clips for people who want to check one topic, helps with views and invite new people. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Children's presenter intonation. Yeah, it makes sense. And gesture makes it even worse than I thought. I don't really understand the 6, 7 thing. I think it's just a video of some kid going 6, 7, right? And that's like it. God, imagine being a teacher of young children and all they do is like, you're like, oh, I want to educate the minds of the future. And then they all just go 6, 7. God, also, my tweet yesterday has provoked the biggest amount of idiocy in the world. So I'll have to pause this because if I show it, the video, you'll probably notice yesterday I had to do the thing where you edit out part of the stream. I hope that Israel and its supporters realize that no matter how many weirdos they pay to spread their nonsense, they will never erase these images from our brain. I hope they don't, just as we shouldn't forget what happened to Berlin. They let the Nazis take over their country, and the Nazis chose to fight to the death rather than surrender. The Nazis' apocalyptic final stand is actually crazy. I don't know enough about it, but like, during the First World War, the Germans tried to do it, and people were just like, no, we're not doing that. But then during the... the right-wing military leadership were, like, really interested in doing it. Hindenburg just went back and was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go to war with the British Navy in the sea and just, like, throw everything we've got at it, knowing that they'd lose. But, yeah, it's just a ridiculous comparison as well because the Palestinians are very obviously not analogous to the Nazis. But then, look, this is a professor. Grok, which side accepted the UN partition plan in 1947 of mandatory Palestine, and which side went to war? Can you describe who was on each side of the subsequent war, including local militias? Thank you, Professor David Bernstein. You seem like a great guy. It's also mad that you just have, like... Okay, he doesn't actually... Oh, my God, he does tweet. Like, he just tweets, like, constantly. Amazing things are happening on Twitter. But I've never had a tweet be so bombarded with, like, just idiotic people proving my exact point. I don't know whether he's actually a professor, mate. That's a bad cup of tea, especially now it's cold. Oh, yucky tea. Doot Doot 67 by Skrilla, according to the internet. The music made its way to TikTok memes and edits got picked up there from everyone. Right, brilliant. Hey, Grok, vomit this slop straight into my mouth. Who doesn't love Grok? Well, I'm asking Grok to do similar things, but in a little different ways. Oh, I love Grok. Oh, God. I put Grok in unhinged, 18 plus mode, and he did an epic vulgar roast. Grok did the most epic vulgar roast. And, yeah. And Joe Rogan. Grok is improving all the time to do epic vulgar roasts. Oh, yeah, right. So we got a few weird things to cover. So Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell sent a message pretending to be Netanyahu messaging Obama. It's a real email as well. Dear President Obama, I'm writing today with a somewhat unusual request. First and foremost, I am asking that you return America to its August... Oh, wait, you probably can't see this. Oh, no, you can. To its August 20th, 1959 borders, so that Hawaii is no longer a state and you are no longer a citizen. Sincerely, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, it adds weight to the fact that she was pro-Israel, but incredible things are happening over on the Jeffrey Epstein email. Also, I feel quite hot now, which is kind of a ball ache, because I've been sat here complaining it's cold all day. Well, complaining, sitting here and thinking to myself, fuck, I'm cold. But yeah, Jeffy Epi is doing amazing stuff. So you can do this thing where you basically log in as Jeffrey Epstein on Gmail and you get to cosplay as him. And yes, I've been doing it, and I've been signing up and messaging Grok through my new Jeffrey Epstein Jeee on vacation. I also meant to search it and see what he was saying with about Douglas Murray, because I was kind of wondering if he ever mentioned Douglas Murray, because I feel like Douglas Murray and Jeffrey Epstein would be, or Douglas Murray's thought would be right up Jeffrey Epstein's street. So right, we had some amazing commentary from Hasbari Vice. She was up to amazing things. I just also want to say, I really don't know why these, like, these Jewish organizations are constantly hosting like these things, are constantly hosting these things, because they're just awful. They come across as awful, and they're not like a good messaging for Israel. But this one's amazing from Hasbari.
All of us see the moment that we're in. And all of us see that the choices that it feels like we have sometimes, which is Hassan Piker and Tucker Carlson, or Nick Fuentes and, Andrew Tate, the kind of people that are rising in the podcast charts.
Hassan Piker, evil podcaster. Hey, Kanyana, thanks for the 5 gifted. Kenya, you're trying to make me say Kenya like I'm a colonial overlord. Kenya. But thanks for the 5 memberships, and shout out to my 5 new members. Scary Place, Joff Cassius, Bad Pierogies. That's not a name I like. It's only good pierogies here. Received a gift membership. Chokin Ashes and Frankenstein. Thanks for the 5 gifted. Honestly, it really helps. Part of me thinks I should go put shorts on. I'm that hot. But yeah, like, just also, these are quite different people, Miss Vice. These are quite different people, Hasbari. These are not the same people. And also, by the way, Andrew Tate is really not a cultural commentator at the moment. Like, if anything, Andrew Tate fell off, and it's part of the reason I have this friend who's not, like, so interested in politics, and he would always say to me, he'd be like, why are you, like, caring about Andrew Tate and thinking it matters? Andrew Tate is just, like, a flavor of the month thing, and I think that there's definitely something to that, in the sense of, like, what he represents is definitely not a flavor of the month kind of thing, that it's bigger than that, but what he was as like a specific person. It's just a flavor of the month, you know, a new Ty Lopez, a new misogynistic online influencer, and he did kind of disappear a lot.
Those don't actually represent our values, and I don't think that they represent the values and the worldview of the vast majority of Americans. And so this is an opportunity to speak for the 75%, for the people that are on the center left and the center right that still believe in equality of opportunity, that still believe passionately in the American project, that still believe in all of the things that everyone in this room believes in.
It's really funny. Is she going to say it like loving Israel? Like the person, Sarah Horowitz, who was like the other day, the prerequisite of being on social media is you love the Jews. Amazing stuff.
Which is liberty and freedom and individual responsibility and in the most basic level, the right to know what is actually going on in the world.
Yes, I generally, without the free press, I wouldn't know what's going on in the world. I wouldn't know that it's actually okay to starve children as long as they have some kind of illness, because the free press has really taught me that so well.
Not the world as propagandists and ideologues imagine it to be, but what's actually going on in the world and in your community, so you can make decisions about where to send your kids to school, about where to live, and about how to vote.
How to vote. Your newspaper is just about vote for Israel and pro-Israel policies. What's going on in the world? It is really the biggest lie. Oh, and also, actually, someone who works for the free press responded to me. I wonder whether any of the outrage ever voiced such fury at Russia for flattening Grozny, the DRC, Kinshasa, the US Fallujah, Syria Aleppo, Russia Mariupol. Like, okay, Mariupol was in 2021, wasn't an online commentator at that point. It is terrible, but the comparison between it and Gaza is totally ridiculous because the level of death in Gaza is so much higher, and the targeting of civilians is much higher than Russia's general conduct, and not making excuses for, like, Russian bombardments and saying that they haven't killed civilians, but, you know, Israel is definitely worse at that. But Fallujah? Mate, I was like, how old was I in Fallujah? Like, the Battle of Fallujah is what? When in 2005? 2004, sorry. So I was like 3 years old? 4 years old. Sorry, I was 4 years old and just under a month. So, surprisingly, when I was like, I don't know, at primary school playing in the sandpit, I was not particularly upset over what is going on in Fallujah, I'm afraid. All of which are far more devastating than any battle in Gaza. Wrong, and all of which happened during wars of choice, as opposed to the war of necessity foisted on Israel by the barbarian horde fighting on behalf of the mullahs in Tehran. This is the guy who I listen to know what's going on in the world, the free press. And also claiming that Israel is engaged not in a war of choice. Israel chose to be a settler colony. If baby formula is so important, why didn't they teach it in math class? Checkmate, anti-Semite. Thank you for becoming a member for 6 months and enjoy your red la boo boo. But like, listening to this guy who just works for the free press and uses the term barbarian horde fighting on behalf of the mullahs in Tehran. Bro, this is like, you don't want us to actually know what's going on in the world. You want us all to think like a colonial fucking overlord from the 1920s or some shit. Like, just to be like, the barbarian hordes of South Africa are challenging the white regime. And in Rhodesia as well, they have risen up against us, the barbarian hordes, who do not like our order and such. Oh, the barbarian hordes of Palestine need to be civilized by the far more important Jewish project. But, like, just sitting here and reading this, and this apparently being ridiculous, like, being how I should learn about the world and what the free press is about. The story of Gaza is tragic, no doubt, but to insist on viewing Israel as cartoonishly wrong for extirpating the terrorist virus is silly. Childlike, really. My brother, your understanding isn't childlike. It is like you are a decrepit fuck who can't be bothered to read anything or offer any meaningful understanding of the world. And so I responded, it really is no surprise that you write for the free press. You're very clearly a stupid man. I hope that, do you think Hasbari had to read that? She's like, excuse me, Netanyahu? We're gonna need a drone strike in England.
That used to just be normal. And the goal of what we're trying to do at CBS is to get back to that normalcy. And I feel incredibly energized and enthusiastic because I think that is where the vast majority of Americans actually are.
Well,
This is a Kenya. Kenya. Thanks for the 10 memberships. Jesus, thank you so much for your incredibly kind gifts. It really is. We got a membership train going. Unfortunately, it's just Kenya, but I'm very grateful. You're on a generational run. I would read out everyone's names, but you saw my incompetence with doing that. I really need new glasses, by the way. I'm getting them very soon. But yeah, this is generally what I would say is the sort of nexus of the average American opinion. Ben Shapiro, whoever this guy is, who kind of looks like Jeff from Curb Your Enthusiasm a little bit. Then man with glasses and, yeah, Hasbari.
so that articulation of that set of goals to speak into the lives of the 75%, how are you going to do that? What's your strategy for success?
So I think one of the problems is a lot of people have tried to do centrist news. I know this because I am like the target audience for those things. And the reason that
It's really amazing just openly enunciating that pro-Israel bias is centrist news.
they have all failed is it's like trying to force feed spinach down someone's throat, right? It's felt very like tofu, oatmeal. It's like centrist news is choosing the midpoint between every single topic. It's felt like an absence of charisma and identity. And I, as nostalgic as people might be for an era in which 30 million Americans every night watched Walter Cronkite and saw him as the voice of truth, and I understand why they're nostalgic for that, we're not going back to that. So how do you build trust in a moment of unbelievably low trust in all of our public institutions, especially the mainstream press? I don't think it's by pretending like we can go back to having a view from nowhere. I think it's about who's in the room, right? I think it's about redrawing the lines of what falls in the 40-yard lines of acceptable debate and acceptable American politics and culture. And I don't mean...
My name is Hasbari Vice, and I am interested in free speech, but only what falls within what I decide is free speech. Centrist news, and it's choosing between genocide and lies. What do you mean? This is Hasbari. She's a truth speaker. Provender. All my homies say fuck centrists. Enjoy your red labubu. No one is yet at the other coloured labubu. There's a golden labubu after a year. So in 6 months' time, if any of you are still here. As Refat said, oh yes, the amazing lady who is responsible for the killing of a genuinely amazing academic who, from all I hear, was a wonderful man as well. But, this is our centrist news lady. This is our queen, Hasbari.
Not in like a censorious gatekeeping way. I mean, having people that are clearly identifiably on the center left and on the center right in conversation with each other. And we've been doing so much of this at the Free Press. I was in, where was I? Chicago. Last week, I think, I've lost all track of time, where Dana Lash, former spokeswoman from the NRA, was debating Alan Dershowitz on guns.
This is really... I mean, Obama called Alan Dershowitz, if Jeffrey Epstein's emails are to be believed. Is Ben Shapiro also homophobic?
It's like on liberty, according to Beto O'Rourke. You want to learn? In other words, if you're a church, you're not infringing on anybody's rights. You're just saying you can't come here for your marriage. Go to the church down the street. You're a religious school. You're saying, listen, you want to learn about gay rights? Go to the public school down the street. Okay, you want to learn about gay rights? You can just go to that secular atheistic crossroads school in Santa Monica. Like, enjoy yourself. That's your problem. Go enjoy. Fine. You're not infringing on anybody. Your mere existence is an infringement, according to Beto O'Rourke. The institutional existence is an infringement on liberty, according to Beto O'Rourke, and you must be shut down. You want a culture war in this country?
Okay, we don't need to watch him being homophobic. I know he's transphobic as shit, but it's so funny that, like, Barry Weiss, Hasbari lies, as she was just called in the chat. I've lost where that was. Ivan said it, yeah. Hasbari lies is like, she's gay. So it's quite interesting that this is apparently like a meeting of centre-left, centre-right. I'm sorry, the only uniting factor here is just loving Israel. Like, here's the checklist. Do you love Israel?
Now, these are people that have wildly different opinions on the Second Amendment, and yet showing that they can have good faith, very passionate, very charismatic disagreement and still like each other at the end of the day, we think it's important. And so for me, it's always about the curation, like who's in the room, how are you showing centrist news, not as the absence of disagreement and the absence of charisma, but explicitly charismatic and disagreeable, and yet doing it in good faith. And the other way you do it is, by being really honest with your audience. Like,
so someone said that Barry Weiss is allegedly having an affair, but I don't know. I've not heard anything about that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, someone, this Glenn Greenwald pointed out this. And I think that this is just something to note. I remember reading an article from The Guardian that was like, Barry Weiss has loads of, motion, loads of viewership. I don't think she actually does. I genuinely don't think she does. I don't think the Free Press is actually a very popular institution. Neither is the Daily Wire anymore. The Daily Wire, this video has less views than a video of me reacting to something. This is from a channel with 300,000 subscribers. Like, look at her video views. This is terrible. Like, even her John Fetterman interview has 39,000 views. The only thing that will get motion is, like, talking about Zoran or something like that. How Katie Herzog drunk her way to sobriety. This is, like, highly well-produced stuff. Oh, her Woody Allen interview is, Woody Allen interview is popping off. By the way, also, I just want to note, Lonabox loves this guy here, Haviv Reti Gur, like some pro-Israel maniac who's just started a shitty TikTok. Defying the assassin's veto. Jesus Christ. Amazing things are happening in the world of Barry Weiss. Sorry, I really need to blow my nose. It's kind of going crazy. But yeah, I just kind of find it really weird to pretend that this is like an opinion shaper that most Americans want to see when it literally has no motion on YouTube even. Like, this just doesn't. I don't know why people are watching an interview with Woody Allen. Like, Annie Hall's good, but Woody Allen is a morally reprehensible monster. Is designing babies unethical? And like, also, why are you getting Alan Dershowitz to do debates? Like, 1,000 views on YouTube. Aye. I'm muted, apparently. I'm literally not muted. She has been AstroTurf for a very long time. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, like, ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. It's just an attempt to capture media with, like, more Zionists and then the hope that they'll be able to, like, even more Zionists, which is saying something. And then I think that the other major hope is that they're able to censor social media. But I don't think that they, like, I think it was like kind of talking about Sarah Horowitz last night. She doesn't actually understand what she's talking about somehow. I think they live in really, really deluded fantasies about what's going to happen and the way in which they'll capture media. It's very clear that the biggest right-wing commentators that are rising up are not actually pro-Israel fanatics. Candace Owens is getting way more, interest because of, mixing sort of conspiracy with anti-Israel stuff. People like Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson. It's very clear that there is a broad-based appeal of being against Israel, and I don't think it's that long before some demagogic populist in terms of right-wing American politics rises up who's just like, yeah, fuck Israel. I think it'll be hard because overcoming like the establishment and the way in which it's set up, but it's really hard to imagine that J.D. Vance, following along Trump's policies, will be able to keep this kind of stuff up. you know? Like, he doesn't have anywhere near the aura that Trump possesses. He doesn't have the voice that Trump possesses. So I think that it's kind of insane. Like, what are you actually going to do? And I don't think that that's, like, a good thing. Like, frankly, that more anti-Semitic people are gaining power. But, like, how do you propose to address this? Orban flirts with it. Orban occasionally just goes... Orban spreads the Great Replacement theory. But then occasionally he'll just be like... And actually, George Soros is doing this to you. But then other times he's just like, Muslims are taking over. That's okay. No George Soros, though. Bad, bad, bad. You can be very racist, but do not mix in the George Soros stuff. But yeah, I mean, she plays into anti-Semitic tropes. Yeah, I mean, kind of like as the Queen Sarah Hurwitz was talking about yesterday, you know, she was like, you made us do it. You made Barry Weiss control CBS, and because their free press was brilliant. Yeah, Marcus, I don't think you can fix her.
Most people do not become political in a particular way because they watch the news. They watch the news in large part after they've become a little bit political. And the way that people mostly become political is through culture. It is through kind of the normal water cooler conversations they have day to day. And
I really don't think water cooler conversations with your colleagues. In maybe once upon a time when you didn't have phones, like, maybe, but I don't really think that this is a really... like a profound political analysis.
So one of our goals was, once we had built up a big enough audience, could we start to broaden our mission to include things like entertainment content that was going to shape people's values from the time that they were young? So, for example, we have a children's programming unit called Bent Key that has several 100,000 subscribers. That programming unit called the time that they were young. So, for example, we have a children's programming unit called Bent Key that...
Bent Key? I really... Also, calling it children's programming is really, really funny.
Announced that we would spend $100 million over 3 years to begin our own kids' entertainment company. I'm proud to announce the launch of Bent Key, an entirely new company from the Daily Wire. A company dedicated to creating the next generation of timeless stories that transport kids into a world of adventure, imagination, and joy. Why the name Bent Key? Why not DW Kids, as we've been calling the initiative for the last year? Well, put simply, DW Kids is just too political. Bent Key isn't about teaching kids...
Actually, keys are anti-Semitic because Palestine.
Politics. It's about childhood and wonder and adventure. It's about values and all of the things on which politics are built later. We didn't just come up with a new name, though. We built an entirely new app that's available on all the most popular devices. There are over 100 episodes available right now today on the...
Wait. Chip Chiller.
Key app. And there will be new episodes released every single Saturday morning. That's right. We're bringing back Saturday morning cartoons. Here's a preview.
Hi, you made it.
Oh, hello.
Wanna play?
I've seen enough. These two are ready.
Ready or not, here we go. Please keep your arms and legs inside the cart at all times.
Hurry up, the party is starting soon.
Yeah! Follow me.
Why is the animation so shit if they're spending hundreds of millions on this?
Where is he going? We're going on a treasure hunt.
We're exploring the wild blue yonder.
It's Chiller time.
Pretty incredible.
It's unbelievable. Whether big or little, little or big, we all...
So they just ripped off, like, a multitude of other, like, existing IPs and made them right-wing.
all have fabulous adventures together.
Wow! It's time to head off for adventure. Look around you. All we need is a bit of music.
Drum solo!
Imagine this.
I'm gonna be honest, the kids' TV that I was watching was a lot better than this. Like, just put frankly. I was really enjoying this earlier. I doubt any of you would know this. This is a British kids' TV show.
Who remembers?
Hold on.
I'm gonna pickle you like a jalapeno.
Oh, sorry, forgot my keys.
Oh, wait. This isn't the one I was looking for. Wait. I like this one.
What are you up to, Bear?
Booty, booty.
Booty shaking at a time like this? You are a couple of sandwiches short of a teddy bear's picnic.
This is the kind of stuff that turned the kids woke and gay and transgender. And now Ben Shapiro and Hasbari Weiss are shaping the conversation by giving in loads of money to this, which is just clearly going to be a failed endeavor.
That has several 100,000 subscribers, and it embodies sort of classical Judeo-Christian values for kids where you...
Judeo-Christian values! Do you think that the episode is just like where they go to Israel, and it's like in the episode there's like a Palestinian boy, and they play with him, and then he just tries to kill them or something, and then Israel blows him up, and that's the end of the story. There, you didn't need to spend $100 million, Ben. I just gave you fantastic advice for your next horrible episode of your stupid show.
You're not worried that you're going to leave your 5-year-old in front of a TV, and suddenly Miss Rachel's going to be lecturing them about Palestine.
Suddenly Miss Rachel's going to be lecturing them about Palestine. Once again, it is just this worry that children might make a connection with Palestinian children. Because, like, let's be frank here. Probably the only kids' content you would see around Palestine or show your kid with Miss Rachel is stuff that is, like, you know, about, like, I don't know, maybe a kid from Gaza who Miss Rachel's with, and just like, oh, that's a kid too, like you. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really watch Miss Rachel. I was too old, obviously. But it's like, how do you end up wasting all of this money? Like, they're just talking here. Jeremy Boring. His name is actually Jeremy Boring, isn't it? Which is just incredible. That's his name. Do you still be booty shaking to this day? That people want to know. Yeah, after I watched that, it made me woke and gay. But yeah, like, just they wasted so much money on this crap. Mass layoffs. The Daily Wire is also shuttering its kids division entirely. I've seen reports of this, but Ben suggests otherwise here.
That's not going to be a concern if you watch our sort of content. So, you know, we decided to expand in that way. Hopefully that'll be justified by the audience, and the audience will love what we're doing. If not, then we'll have to stick and move in other ways too. That's, as Barry says, one of the nice things about independent media is that you can really move quickly. You can adjust on the fly. And I just want to take a second and say how courageous it is for Barry to move back into a legacy media space, which does have disproportionate power and weight in the conversation, disproportionate resources in being able to actually ferret out the news. The dirty sort of unspoken secret about independent media and legacy media is that independent media has always been at least a little bit parasitic on legacy media.
I don't know, bro. You had hundreds of millions of dollars and you just wasted it on crap. Like, it's so obvious that also part of his ire is that Miss Rachel entertains kids and he made crap that no one was interested in.
They have to rely on the reporting of legacy media because they have so many resources. So for Barry to go back into legacy media and give up the freedom and fun that independent media represent in order to actually go and capture an institution and take it back for something like sanity is an amazing thing.
It's also really funny. Capture an institution. Programming for kids. Bro is saying the quiet part out loud. Parapraxis. Thank you. These are the kind of people who I want to be just controlling and talking about my media. Very clever and awesome people.
Is Jewish kids. That is.
Oh yeah, Ben was even getting mad about Nick Fuentes, which, you know, if you weren't a hate preacher, Ben, I think people would be like, okay, yeah, fair enough. But you had no problem preaching hatred about other people. Blaming legacy media for your ability to make compelling content is my favorite conservative self-soothe. Yeah, but, like, also, at what point are you hanging around with, like, very powerful people? Donald Trump, Netanyahu, anyone you want, you can get access to. You have hundreds of millions of dollars at your to play with, and yet you fail. You are legacy media, Ben, but you just collapsed.
Something important. You say, these people, Nick Fuentes and Tate and Andrew Tate, they're speaking into the lives of young men in a way that normie conservatives are not. So now let's ask ourselves the question, as Jews and as Americans, what actually could Jewish ideas leadership say to young men and to young women What can Jewish ideas actually do to renew, replenish, revitalize this society that we care so much about?
Love Israel. Love Israel. Love Israel. That is the only thing that Hasbari and Ben have to offer. We need to teach kids to love Israel. Babies, all the babies will salute the Israeli flag every day.
So, I really think that biblical ideas, and here I say they're Jewish ideas, but they were extended through Christianity as well. But, the sort of very Jewish idea that you have a role and a responsibility in the world, and you need to go do that in a muscular way, that actually Judaism values the idea that you're supposed to forge forth into the world and you have moral duties that you're supposed to do every single day. These are things that you're required to do every single day, and that you're a loser if you don't. Really, you're a loser, and you're making your life worse. Okay, we shouldn't be shy about this. I think that we're all too shy about this sort of stuff with young men, particularly. We say, if you choose not to, that's one. If you choose, no. Your life will be worse, and you will be a loser if you don't do these things that are going to make your life better. And again, I speak to young men all the time.
Be it God commanded me to be transphobic on the internet. Also, once again, just talking about this stuff and being like Judeo-Christian values is so funny, but it's also part of just like effacing, the legacy of Christian oppression of Jewish people, because European modern society emerged off the back of anti-Semitism, right? Like, anti-Semitism played a big part. Like, Mamdani's dad argues that the Reconquista and the expulsion of Jewish people from Spain and Muslims was actually the core part of establishing the modern nation-state system. He argues that it's not Westphalia and prefers the idea that it's actually that made this state. But yeah, Ben loves speaking to men about ideas. Oh yes.
And the reality is, if they don't hear that message, then you're not speaking it proudly enough. And I think that's the mistake that, frankly, people in the pro-Israel community make all the time, is sort of an apologetic approach to the way that they're pro-Israel, or people in the Jewish community speak about anti-Semitism. It's almost an apology for, can't we just be tolerated? Saying, no, there's an actual value system. That value system actually coincides with traditional Americanism, and that gives you something to do.
Judeo-Christian values don't really exist, though. This is just made-up stuff. Yes, it is from Neither Settler Nor Native. It's literally the opening of the book. Hold on, someone's texting me, and I should probably check it. Just a load of crap. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's so ridiculous to sit here and talk about this and just act like this. And also, he's only upset with Nick Fuentes because he's hateful about Jewish people. Like, just keep that in mind. Like, if Nick Fuentes was exclusively hateful towards minorities and stuff, he would not care.
If you listen to Nick Fuentes, you are likely to be a loser. He is a loser. He is a basement-dwelling, ridiculous loser who spends his days ranting on the internet to a bunch of other basement dwellers. Don't be one of those people. You don't have to be that. You can actually go get a job. You can get married. You can have a girlfriend. You can actually, make something of yourself in this world. And it was really funny. There's one point where actually Tucker made some sort of...
Oh my God, look at this. Like, they mostly just upload on the Daily Wire Plus stuff about this, but still, look at this. We finally debate. Okay, here's one with 650k for, apparently the Daily Wire hosts debating with all of their YouTube channels linked. But look at this. The group chat leak scandal. This has 17,000 views. Merlin discovers a mysterious foe. What is this? You're not ready for this scene. What is this? The Pendragon Chronicles. I know it's about Arthur, right? And Merlin.
Disparaging reference to Fuentes about this when he was doing an interview with another delightful person, Candace Owens. And in the middle of this interview, he sort of made a disparaging remark about Fuentes. And Fuentes went right back at him and said, you're insulting the basement dwellers. Tucker, those are your people. Like, you said they were your people, but actually you scorn them. Here's the thing. Nobody should scorn people who are unsuccessful in life when they don't know better. But it's our job to teach them to know better. Right? It is not good. If you listen to Nick Fuentes, there is no way your life gets markedly better. In fact, it gets markedly worse.
How does listening to Ben Shapiro make your life markedly better?
You listen to the life prescriptions of Andrew Tate, your life will get worse, not better. You will end up alone, joyless, with no purpose in life. You will end up not being very wealthy. You'll have made him wealthy by giving him your money, by being grifted upon. And if we don't make that aggressive case on behalf of our own values, and yes, against those values, and not in a shy way, then we deserve to lose.
It's just like, also, Ben, you know, Nick Fuentes is right. Those are your people. Those are your people. The basement dwellers are your people. They are not happy people. They are looking for misery in their lives. They want to hate others. Don't sit here and pretend that you are somehow different from Nick Fuentes. There is literally one material difference. You love Israel and he doesn't. And he's more willing to openly announce the policies that you want. Well, I don't know if he made a great point because, frankly, Nick Fuentes, what's the difference between him and Nick Fuentes? 100 million on the first season, at least. What, of the thing? 100 million, what, of his show? He was perfectly fine being cordial with these people. And exactly, he does not care. That's what I've been trying to reiterate. None of these people actually care if you're a hate preacher. All they care about is if you dare to preach hate against Israel and Jewish people. Even on Jewish people, Ben Shapiro's a little shaky on that, whether that's okay, you know? We'll watch this and then we'll get into some news.
How you get Jewish continuity. So then how do you raise Jewish kids? Again, people want all these solutions. The reality is formative experiences, putting kids in actual bubbles, in Jewish bubbles during their formative years, because when they're in those Jewish bubbles, that's when Judaism comes alive. And that's also, oh, by the way, while they're forming all their key relationships with their closest friends, who, despite what any of us think, will have much more influence on these kids than any of us will, all right? Who the kids spend their time with. So whether it is in a Jewish day school, and I think Jewish day school is like a no-brainer. Just 3 data points. There have been a series of studies. One, alumni of Jewish day schools are...
What is this about? Because I'm not sure this account is the best source. Work ethic, blah, 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 blah. Capital events.
2 times more likely than their peers to be very proud and very public about their Jewish identity. They're 4 times as likely to proudly identify and support the state of Israel.
So it's just make kids support Israel. This is like it. It doesn't even come down to a real care about Judaism. It is literally just about celebrating Israel.
Okay? Today, some 5% of non-Orthodox Jewish kids in America are in Jewish day schools. That is a tragedy. And if there's one lesson we can take after these last 2 years, is there should now be a Jewish renaissance in Jewish education and Jewish camping, and just figure out that is like, and the challenge is that it's uninterested. Like when you tell people this, like the big philanthropists, they look at you like, because they only know of giving to the school that their kid went to, or the school they want their kid to go to.
We should have, like, the challenge to our community and people in this room should be, how can we collectively make Jewish day school the price of Catholic school?
Right. I remember, actually, after my 90 seconds through why you said that, so you said...
Okay, this is just boring. This is just boring. Like, it's just uninteresting. It's just about how to make people love Israel. Okay, here we go. Here we've got another bench pair.
MOU, yeah, I think, again, it provides a convenient talking point for people who don't understand geopolitics in any significant way. The reality is that, in many ways, the MOU is significantly better for the United States than it is for Israel. It allows the United States to yank Israel's chain on matters of security. It allows America to hamper Israel's military-industrial complex in fairly significant ways. And so I think there's actually a fairly solid case to be made that the MOU is more beneficial to the United States government than it is to the Israeli government.
By the way, arguing this is also so stupid because it's very evident at this point that even in Trump's sort of desires and plans for the Middle East, that Israel is just an annoying fucking problem in terms of its unwillingness to broker a ceasefire with basically anyone. Like, Israel's interests in southern Lebanon, Israel's interests in Gaza, its interests in ethnically cleansing the West Bank are a ball ache which slow down what they actually want to be doing. Like, I'm sorry. It's a problem. Israel is an annoyance to American conservatives, and it will continually be so. It's not going to rid the world of, like, a resistance mindset ever, because that will express in a multitude of different ways, not just through militant resistance. They are never going to rid the world of this. Israel is trying to do it, but they won't.
I think for both governments, it would be better if they negotiated toward the end of an MOU. And I think that the prime minister would like to do that, actually, at some point in the very, very near future. MOU...
Oh my god, this is where she was as well. Of course this.
Jews. In Britain, they're not just British Jews with Judaism added on. They are part of the British people, you are part of the Jewish people and the Jewish nation, and that should come first.
Okay, this account is clearly someone who is not a great source, and I'm not recommending them, it's just they have the clips. But yeah, like, also this idea that, this is like, fucking hell, sorry. Someone just commented on my video, and the combination of flags here, US, Israel, Ukraine, European Union, Britain, in Canada, rainbow, Earth globe, Statue of Liberty, the Department of the Ministry of Justice, Department of Justice, scales, blue heart, wave. Wow. The Tucker test of the conservative movement. Oh my god, this is an amazing sounding article. When political movements start tolerating hate, they lose the moral authority they claim to defend. It's time to demand leaders who stand against anti-Semitism. Right, brilliant. Brilliant things are happening. Amazing things are happening. Right. I'm going to take off this jumper. I didn't want to because I spilt some tea on myself earlier, but I don't think you're going to be able to see it. You definitely probably... Oh! Sorry for shouting. I kicked over my bottle. Sorry. Hi, Lemon Mint Cat. Sorry, I knocked over my bottle, so that's the noise. I love the country of wave. Yes. Fox News said Biden gave everyone a stimulus check before Trump ruined the economy and sent Israel... I don't know if you can see it. Oh, you can't see it, which is kind of perfect. It's down here. But, oh well. We move. Right, what were we going to do now? Do we have any other meme shit to cover? No, we've kind of been through all of this. The Ghislaine. More Dershowitz, less Piker. I too like men who regularly defend pedophilia. Oh wait, actually, we've got one final thing of the... No, actually, no. We'll move on to some more serious news. No, it's a bottle of water that I knocked over. Let's cover Israel, Lebanon, and then we'll end with Ethan's lawsuit. We'll do that. Although, actually, we did get a funny clip out of him, which might be worth talking about now. Here we go. Yeah. Let's... No, actually, no. I'll save that as a little treat for later. I'll save that as a little treat for you later. So, okay. So, there's been some, like, pretty major escalations between Lebanon and Israel. Haitham Tabatanai. Tabatabai. You know who we should watch on this? The Free Press Journal. Let me just see if there's any discussion. Taboy. There's really not many videos about this. This wasn't actually as big news as you would have expected. Or it wasn't amongst many.
For more on this, let's bring in Chris Doyle in London. He's a Middle East commentator. And
Okay, we've got TRT talking about this.
Council for Arab-British Understanding. Chris, thanks for being with us. So,
It's no problem. I'm just here anyway. Do you get it? Because my name's also Chris.
how much of a blow to Hezbollah is the loss of Haitham Tabatabai?
Well, he was arguably the number 2 in Hezbollah. He was a very senior commander who was involved.
I guess I should probably start with the preface. So, earlier, I think it was on Sunday, I believe, Haitham Abu Ali Tabatabai, which I looked at and I was like, that's an Iranian name. That is not how you would spell. I guess it is. Yeah. Tabatabai, Tabayi. That's how you spell it in Arabic. But yeah, he was a significant figure in Hezbollah. He was actually Hezbollah's chief of staff, and he was killed in a strike in Beirut, which killed apparently 5 Hezbollah fighters, including him. He was like a significant figure in Hezbollah, and it's kind of a pretty significant escalation. But we'll see what this guy has to say.
In building up its special forces, the Radwan force. So, together with all the other assassinations that Israel has conducted against Hezbollah's top command, the decapitation strategy obviously is continuing. This was the 5th Israeli strike in Beirut since the ceasefire of last November, and that anniversary.
That is actually just crazy to think about. 5 strikes on the capital of Lebanon. Like, unbelievable, during a ceasefire.
Is just coming up in a couple of days' time. So it is a reminder to Hezbollah, if it wasn't already aware of it, that the Israeli leadership is hell-bent on continuing to break Hezbollah, to fragment it, to weaken it in any way possible. But of course, the real fear, the fear in Lebanon at least, is that this is going to escalate, that we'll see yet another Israeli full-scale onslaught on Lebanon, something it really and the population cannot sustain.
And Hezbollah has not responded to sustained Israeli breaches of the ceasefire, as you mentioned, over the past year. I mean, what kind of response might it be considering now?
This is kind of the interesting thing, because maintaining a situation like this, like where Israel just keeps on killing Hezbollah commanders and doesn't actually, like, you know, engage in a full-scale war, is obviously very beneficial for Israel, right? Like, they don't actually have to do anything that significant, and yet they can just continue bombing and killing.
Is it in a position for any sort of sizable response?
It's hard to know. We see reports that Hezbollah has been rearming via the ports, via Beirut port, via the border with Syria, but to the extent that that was happening, it's very hard to know. Tabatabai was seen as somebody who was in charge of that, had been ordered to rebuild Hezbollah's armed strength. But then again, this is exactly what Prime Minister Netanyahu wants. He wants to have another conflict escalated like this. So I think the Hezbollah leadership is very well aware that a trap is being laid for them. So a precipitant response right now could be exactly what the Israeli armed forces are looking for, the excuse to go further into Lebanon and to rip up that ceasefire agreement and to distract.
Part of me definitely thinks that, because I think what they actually want to do, obviously going to war with Hezbollah will be costly in the sense of Israeli soldiers will die. Obviously, they've been able to destroy a lot of infrastructure south, but ultimately they just want to increase pressure on Israel. On Hezbollah, by basically making life untenable for Lebanese people. And generally, this kind of stuff, like striking a capital, is obviously going to just cause instability there. I wanted to look something up, but now I've forgotten what it was.
Of course, from what's going on in Gaza, where a ceasefire isn't really happening there either as well.
The Israelis have framed this as putting pressure on the Lebanese government and authorities and army to speed up the disarming of Hezbollah. Do you think that aim will be successful?
Not in the slightest. I remember in September when the Lebanese cabinet reviewed the military plans for doing this and wondered how this could possibly happen. Hezbollah would have to consent to all of this. The Lebanese army is not strong enough on its own to do it. It's not going to risk a great civil war in Lebanon over this. So I think there's a really...
By the way, it's also so funny to think about how you have so many people who are like, well, actually, Palestinians destabilize other countries, and that's the main problem, that they destabilize these countries, and that's all that's happening. But yeah, it's like Israel is provoking a civil war inside Lebanon. And I've not heard this story. About the... Where's this story? What did you say? What did you call it? Did you hear about the Singapore youth torch Israeli ships?
So why Benjamin Netanyahu global?
There's someone called Open-Minded Reporter talking about this on Four Settlers. And I can't find much about this. Where did you find this? The only person I'm seeing is one YouTuber talking about this. I don't think I see much source on this. By the time the Israeli court gets to sentencing him, well, I think that the thing is that, yeah, I think probably he will be hanging around with him. But I also think that thinking that this is just a Netanyahu thing is also kind of difficult, because Israel is doing this and maintaining these because constantly killing Palestinians is the only way that it can move away from answering the fundamental questions of Israel. Most notably, like, as I've said, what a Jewish state is, what they're going to do about the two-state, and what they're going to do about Palestinians. Because these are not simple questions to answer in the context of, you know, this Jewish supremacist state that offers no two-state solution and is moving towards annexation of huge amounts of Palestinian territory with huge amounts of Palestinians on. Like, there's like, what's going to happen?
A major question mark about how this American-imposed plan is actually going to work. You have to give Hezbollah a reason to actually be willing to disarm, to actually rip up its military infrastructure. And that would have had to have been, at least minimum, a full-scale Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon. At the moment, Israel is still holding on to 5 sites in southern Lebanon. And of course, as we've been discussing, is making regular violations of that ceasefire, bombing not just Beirut, but Bekaa and southern Lebanon and other areas in the country. So I don't see that this is going to bring us any closer to seeing the disarmament of Hezbollah. Far from it. I think
that this is also like a very optimistic position anyway, to think that like they're going to be able to disarm them, because Israel isn't exactly doing well at like proving, no, we're not going to do anything. They're still bombing Beirut. They're still occupying the south. And it's just like, yeah, I think like all of this stuff is just insane.
They're more likely to...
Like, all of this stuff of just pretending that things are going to be fixed is just ridiculous. By the way, Joseph Aoun looks crazy. Like, this guy looks like a Dr. Eggman or something. Girl with a microphone?
To want to hold
an egg
onto their arms, and will be able to get more popular support for doing just that.
Chris Doyle, Middle East commentator and director of the Council for Arab-British Understanding. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, I mean, just insane stuff.
Iran has condemned Israel for killing...
But like, this is Al Jazeera's video on it. We'll see if this works.
Hezbollah's top military commander in Lebanon's capital on Sunday. Haitham Tabatabai was chief of staff of the group's armed wing. Teams are clearing out the debris left by the strike on Dakhia district.
I don't think they can ethnically cleanse 7 million people. Where are you talking about in terms of ethnically cleansing 7 million people? Because pretty much since the Zionist project began, David Ben-Gurion was like, this is in the book by Tom Segev, The First Israelis. David Ben-Gurion was like, we need to move out huge amounts of Lebanese Muslims and set up a Christian state in... Right, I'm just going to block you. Why are you sending these weird messages? They are, like, deeply disturbing. I don't know what is wrong with you. So I'm blocking you. But anyway, yeah, sorry, I've kind of gone off track now because this guy's saying loads of weird shit. Oh, that Israel basically wants to ethnically cleanse southern Lebanon so it doesn't have a problem on its border of people who are against Israel. Like, as simple as that. It wants a sympathetic Christian state. And, like, the situation in Lebanon is terrible for so many.
At least 4 other Hezbollah fighters were also killed in the attack and dozens of people were injured. Israel has repeatedly launched attacks on southern Lebanon, claiming Hezbollah is rearming.
It is actually truly amazing that that there are people who, like, try and litigate and claim that Israel is actually not violating the ceasefire and that this is the fault of Hezbollah. Like, I'm sorry, if you are the ones carrying out the mass killings, if you are the ones still bombing Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, it feels really, really hard to sit there and act as if, oh, no, it's their fault, it's the Palestinians' fault, you know. Oh, sorry, it's Hezbollah's fault. I mean, they'd still blame the Palestinians. They'd say they destabilized Lebanon and made Hezbollah. These people are crazy.
We were expecting this to happen. This brutality and barbarism carried out by the Israeli enemy with a...
I like how he's got a picture of Nasrallah there.
Here in the south, we're used to it. As we said, this only increases our determination and resolve, God willing.
Ali Hashim sent this report from the location.
It's also, like, if you just look into what's going on in Lebanon, I find it so crazy that anyone would make an argument for Israel, because it's very obvious that Israel have committed the greater amount of crimes there, both historically and since the ceasefire went into effect. Also, hello, Sophie. Hope you're all good.
Location of the attack in Beirut.
We are at the assassination site here in Beirut's southern suburb. In this building, Haytham Ali Tabatabai was last seen, and then an Israeli airstrike. Several missiles hit this building. We can see several holes in the building. The Israeli military targeted several floors in an attempt to kill Haytham Ali Tabatabai, who is known to be Hezbollah's top commander. Since the 2024 war, this is the highest level that the Israelis have assassinated. Over the past years, there have been several attacks, especially after the ceasefire that was reached on the 27th of November 2024. But Tabatabai is the highest and the most senior among those who were targeted. Now, this attack comes at a time...
Do you remember one of the craziest parts of when Israel was bombing Dahia in Lebanon? And they claimed that there was like a military base under a hospital. And then all of the international journalists went and investigated it and found that it wasn't the case. And the Israelis were like posting on Twitter, no, go check out this different bit. There's loads of Hezbollah gold under the area. And like a ton of journalists were there. This is once again their problem with Lebanon. And what I'm really hoping that occurs in the next few days, but I worry that it won't because I'm worried that it won't happen because of like an issue involving... Oh, sorry, that I'm worried because it's Ain al-Helway, which is a Palestinian refugee camp, but we'll see. Coco Mayaki became a member thanks to Nizara439. The membership train is crazy today. Israel has mastered bombing children in multiple countries and crying victims. Yes, and we get to hear litigation of why it's actually good to blow up children and why Israel is actually a peace-loving country. I like, once again, I've been thinking more about this in terms of like how... in terms of how Israel is... undeniably like this oppressive and violent structure that is so clearly destabilizing the Middle East and causing so many issues in the region. And there are still these people who are like, no, we just need to support Israel. Like, I was literally looking at Lona Box's coverage of Sudan. He barely mentions the UAE. He barely mentions Israel. Before, I'm about 90% sure that before the crackdown was launched in 2021, in fact, I better look this up. Hold on, I need to look at my dissertation. Because I want to just double check this, because obviously I've not read a lot of my sources on... I've not read a lot of sources on Lebanon, or like not to the level I've been reading, where I was at that point. Ugh. I need to pull up my Outlook. Hold on. Oh. I don't really ever send emails, so wait, I cannot find this email that I sent out. Sorry, I'm just trying to find... Why can't I find my dissertation? This is really annoying. Oh, Sophie, thanks for the 5 gifters. Mega Maggie, Irene Bartoni, you finally got a membership. But, nice. And shout out to all the new members. And thank you all, guys, for the gifting. It's so incredibly kind and helpful. Sorry, I'm now just trying to find this. Keeping the train going. Nice. Shout out to all my new members. I really don't know why I can't find this stuff that I sent out. Anytime has attachment. Where is my dissertation? It's really annoying. I don't know. Anyway, basically, when the crackdown was launched, right before the crackdown was launched by the RSF, they were just hanging out. Like, Hamedati just went to, where the fuck is my dissertation? I know that I've sent this to someone, and it just doesn't appear. I have no idea how why it would have just disappeared. Oh well, I'm not going to cry about it. Anyway, I'll find that at some point. It would be a pity if I didn't have it. But yeah, I really wish I could 100% confirm that. But anyway, UAE's influence in destabilizing the Middle East is just insane. And if you don't realize that and you don't want to confront that, you're just a complete and utter joke. Like, in Sudan, their fingerprints are all over it. Like, Sudan literally got forced to, oh wait, I might have found it. Yes, I found it. Fucking hell. It's such an annoyance. Let me just download it. Oh my fucking god. Why is it so hard to find this? Oh, this... I can't download it either, which is annoying. Okay, right, I found it. Oh. Yeah, here you go. Wait. Here we go. Right. So, okay, here we go. Sorry it took me so long to find. I was just faffing around and then I started panicking that I'd lost my dissertation. How is this person still commenting? They're hidden on the channel. How is this person still fucking commenting? But yeah, anyway. The attitude of the generals towards the democratic protests was made clear on June 3rd, 2019, when they organised an RSF and policemen to crack down, killing over 100 people and injuring 900 more. What is particularly notable about this is that around the dates of the massacre, Hamedati had visited Saudi Arabia, Egypt and the UAE, seemingly seeking their approval for the massacre and subsequent seizure of power by the military elite. Hamedati, the guy who everyone is now like, oh, I'm upset because there's pools of blood that you can see from space, but don't want to confront Israel's involvement. No. This guy was hanging out in Israel before he was carrying out crackdowns on protesters. And also, by the way, this guy was like, you have to normalize relationships with Israel. The destabilizing and negative role that Israel is creating in the Middle East, along with its horrible allies, is absolutely insane. It's just genuinely insane. Also, Sonny, I would cover the thing you mentioned about Singapore, but there's not much information.
Of Israeli threats to Lebanon, of renewed attack, and the Lebanese government is trying its best, at least this is what it's expressing and saying, to contain the situation. However, the situation seems to be deteriorating, or at least escalating day after day. Ali Hashim, Al Jazeera, Beirut, Southern Suburb.
But yeah, like, I think when you look at what's going on in Lebanon and this idea that you're going to get some, like, peaceful Lebanese where you face resistance, where you destroy politics, like, what do you actually think is going to happen? Resistance isn't going to go away because it's a product of how Israel behaves and acts in the region. It's not like some amazing thing that's, like, going to just appear out of nowhere. Palestinians, Lebanese people, Syrians, Sudanese people are not interested in normalizing with Israel because of the way that Israel treats Palestinians, and pretending that elites from the outside are just going to enforce this is so insane, because relitigating what Israel is and acting as if it is a comparable force in the region to Iran, Hezbollah, the Houthis, when it is a facet of Western imperialism, is such a joke. And also, by the way, as bad as Iran may be, it is not an apartheid state. Iran has committed, no doubt, war crimes in Syria and other places, but I think it is 1,000,000,000% worth noting that it didn't do a genocide, that it did not kill as many civilians as Israel has in Gaza. Like, the number, by the way, they're saying, there's new reporting, which shouldn't actually come as that much of a shock, by the Max Planck Institute, estimates more than 100,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 23, far higher than the health ministry's confirmed count. We already knew this, by the way. We had that Lancet article, not the 600,000 one. We had another one which looked at death tolls using multiple different softwares and comparing, like, social media posts to analyze like how you worked out the death toll, like whether people had died, and they pointed to a much higher death toll. And then you had The Economist estimating that a low death toll in Gaza would probably be about 77,000, and an expected, like, a higher death toll would be like around 109,000. I think the number of Palestinians killed is humongous, and the number of wounded is like over the number of wounded brings it to well over 20% of the population in Gaza. I nearly said the population in Giardia. The dude who's making multiple accounts in chat said he's sorry for being a dork and wanted me to buy you a coffee. 2,000% interest, of course. Thank you, coffee lovers. Always. He's not even making multiple accounts. That's the thing that shocked me. I hid the user and it's like, nah, he's just able to do this. But yeah, thanks for the $5. Thank you for everyone who's watching and supporting. 180,000. So there are multiple different Lancet articles. The one I'm talking about is one that, like, did social media analysis that I don't fully understand because I'm not a statistician. But yeah, using demographic modeling, household surveys, and death reports from social media, scientists say the ministry likely undercounts by 35 to 41%, especially women and older people, and those buried under the rubble. Their mid-range estimate, 112,000 Palestinians killed in the first 2 years. By the way, the number of civilians killed in Gaza, as I have said over and over again, is abnormal, even for wars that we are told and were and are incredibly brutal. Because, by the way, as I have said over and over again, what makes Israel genocidal? What makes it genocidal is that it took aim at Palestinian social life alongside its long-standing logic of trying to expel Palestinians. That's the problem. No, it's multiple accounts. There have been... Really? What is wrong with this guy? Like, why does he want to come on and be really anti-Semitic and just say, like, shit? Like, on TikTok, it's hard to moderate because you have loads of people spamming crap and the chat goes so fast. But, like, on here, the chat's not that fast. We're gonna see you, bro, and you're not staying. Like, I don't have patience for it. I don't want that shit. I don't care about that shit. And, like, why as a leftist would you think that I have any interest in fucking Nick Fuentes? My interest in Nick Fuentes lies exclusively in him tearing apart the right and these hate preachers who now cry about it. Like, I'm sorry, I think people like Ben Shapiro who are like, I can't believe that there are hate preachers. I cannot believe this, that Nick Fuentes is hateful towards the Jews and Israel. Actually, once again, he only literally cares about, if you're hateful towards Israel. Previously, we know with the Ann Coulter episode. The highest since the Rwanda genocide. Well, it's not just that it's the highest since the Rwanda genocide. It's like, even just look at anything. Like, The population of civilians being killed is unbelievable. But even if it wasn't, the fact that their government are literally just like, including Israel's defense minister, by the way, not a fringe figure, someone who sits atop and commands people who we are regularly told are like awful and evil. Like Lonabox has a video on his channel about Brigadier General Yehuda Vach, and he's like, this guy is insane. But like Yehuda Vach, right, is like a significant figure in the Israeli military who just openly says, I want to kill Palestinians and get rid of them. And he gets to do that under the command of a guy who is like, ethnically cleanse all the Palestinians now. And it's like, I'm sorry? And you're trying to tell me that this isn't genocide when we see them like openly enunciate their logic so regularly? Far-right anti-Semites are so pathetic. Well, I mean, yes, of course. But like all of this stuff going on in Lebanon is also the same thing. In Lebanon, I don't actually think they're trying to carry out genocide because they don't want to exterminate Lebanese Muslims. They just don't want them near Israel's border because they're obviously going to be people who have, like, in part because of the... Like, this is a thing, right? Sects don't matter necessarily as much as people think. It's normally to do with the material conditions experienced by that sect. So in Saudi Arabia, right, like, Shias are more likely to protest because they're in regions that are, like, less cared for by the government and are also, just generally treated very negatively. And so they're more likely to protest. Same in Bahrain. They're more likely to protest, not because they're Iranian implants there, but because they're marginalized by a Sunni government. And so in the context of, like, Shias in Lebanon, Israel's problem with them is that they're on the border, and because of the experience of them, being bombed and targeted by Israel the most, they're going to oppose Israel. And so Israel doesn't want them there. It wants to destroy border villages. Because also, by the way, many people would actually say this about Lebanon who would never admit it about Israel. Every settlement inside Israel, inside the West Bank, is built with the specific goal of surveilling Palestinians. And the same with the Gaza border. That's what those are for. Mods in chat, get some coffee on me. I'm a little low, so share a cup. One sip each. I will add it to the link tree, sorry. But thank you, Coffee Lover, as always. Thanks for your support, and thank you for everyone who's donated and gifted subs. Yeah, it's so helpful for doing this regularly. And watching, by the way. Don't forget, watch the damn VODs. Guys, I need you to watch the VODs. Ethan's basement will be destitute if it isn't for this. I'm joking. But I do love his editing. It's brilliant. Like, I watch all of the VODs. But yeah, like, we've seen a similar process in southern Lebanon, but it just doesn't possess the same goal of expelling Palestinians. Like, look at this, by the way. This is the environmental genocide committed by the occupation in the border areas and villages in its ugliest form from the town of Yaron, which was subjected to widespread destruction in its ancient pine forests and its olive vineyards. So this is pre 2023, I'd assume. And this is post. Like, look at that. Like, look at that. The trees remain here to some extent, but still scorched and burnt. And Israel goes, well, Hezbollah uses them against us. And it's like, bro, no one wants you there. Just fuck off and stop burning the things around you. Like, no one wants you there. You are such a horrible, malign, destabilizing influence in the Middle East. Genuinely. Like, Israel is just such a negative, destabilizing influence, and anyone who's positive on the topic is a fool. Like, why are you defending this, and why pretend to be a leftist? There was also a really good article on this topic, the Dispatch from Southern Lebanon, Life as Resistance at the End of the World. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm actually really in need of a pee, so I'm going to put some music on, and we'll carry on with this for a bit, and then we'll cover the Kaceytron Ethan Klein stuff. So if you're interested in that, that'll be
من القدس من البلدة القديمة أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة أنا من القدس من البلدة القديمة أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة أنا من القدس 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 من البلدة القديمة أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة أنا من القدس من البلدة القديمة أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة أنا من القدس أنا من القدس أنا من القدس أنا من القدس في الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع في الطرقات في الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع في الطرقات سأبقى أناضل 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 لتحرير الأرض والإنسان سأبقى أناضل 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 لتحرير الأرض والإنسان أنا من القدس أنا من القدس أنا
Yeah, I'm going to come in and interrupt the best part. So enjoy. Enjoy. Take that. I hope you guys are all doing well. Yeah, we're all doing well. But this article was very good on this topic. It talked about like some really interesting stuff to do with Lebanon and life there. There are some great quotes about like how, as in Gaza, the target of this assault was ostensibly military, but in practice, what was being destroyed were the vital ecologies underwriting life. So we had like a lot of this a lot of this Israel engaged in huge destruction. But listen to this quote. This quote was really interesting, I thought. I probably need to move the chat myself. Here we go. In October and November of 2023, friends who are farmers in the frontline villages and who depend on the agricultural seasons of tobacco, olives, and subsistence crops as well as on livestock such as goats, told me that they were being intentionally targeted by the Israeli military across the nearby borderline. One said, "They see us tending to our livelihoods and then they shoot at us because we are out in our orchards harvesting our olives and living our lives while they cower in shelters. As has been extensively documented, the Israeli army used white phosphorus and incendiary bombs along the border, attacking olive harvesters, setting trees on fire and targeting firefighters who came to the rescue. What a surprise, Israel targeting rescue workers. Only two things are certain in life, death and Israel trying to kill anyone who tries to do rescue and emergency work." I'm sorry to hear you're sick, Cindy. But yeah, like just listening to this person talk about it. There's also a really interesting thing here about tobacco, which is probably worth talking about because I just found it really, really interesting, to be honest. It's kind of like about how tobacco operates in southern Lebanon. Because it's apparently such a like really hardy crop. And there's a cool bit about goats, actually, which I'll talk about. So tobacco is a cash crop that was introduced to South Lebanon during the Ottoman Empire and then taken over by the French colonizers during the Mandate period. In 1960, it became a Lebanese state monopoly under the Régie Libanaise des Tabacs et Tombac, a public company under the Ministry of Finance. Flexible, fleeting, and hardy, it thrives in adverse conditions such as poverty and war. Growing in the arid highlands of the Lebanese borderland, tobacco needs no irrigation. Its lifespan in the fields is brief. Planted in February, transplanted in March and April, and harvested in June, July, and August. It requires no storage facilities from the village home. It is worked by the many hands of village households, those who have not left the village to earn a living elsewhere or to fight women Or to fight women. Or to fight women. It's not Andrew Tate. Or to fight women. Sorry, I keep doing it. Or to fight women, children, and the elderly through their cultivation of tobacco and the income it brings. Inhabitants of the frontline villages hold on to home and land. I also really love the dialectic thing of death and life, of kind of like how tobacco kills you, but it also brings life to Lebanon. Riche Libanese de tabac et tombac? Is that really that bad? Yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting that it's such a hardy thing. The long-suffering villagers of this borderland have always relied on the profit guaranteed by tobacco as a key supplemental income, and although it has a difficult history, they also call it al-nabti al-murra, the bitter crop. Tobacco is a lifeline to those who steadfastly remain in their villages through ever-returning seasons of war and devastation. I'm sorry, I do think that that's interesting. Like, it does sound kind of stupid just going, wow, that is dialectics, but it matters. It matters in the sense of, like, you know, how tobacco operates in Lebanese society, that it slowly was killing me for many years and perhaps for the rest of my life, but, you know, it was pretty good for Lebanese people. I'll be smoking on that Lebanese pack. You know how it is. This fact is known to everyone, including Israelis, who target tobacco fields and harvests in every war. In South Lebanon, tobacco is lionized as Nabit al-Mukawama. Mukawama? The crop of resistance. Underwriting life in war and occupation, tobacco vividly exemplifies a resistant ecology. This is a really, really good article. There's also a crazy part about goats, and it just talks about like how Israel ostensibly is targeting the military. Yeah, I can. It's Merip. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's ever helped me quit smoking is nicotine pouches, but yeah. Tobacco also helps with ADHD symptoms. Why are all leftist smokers? Because they all go to university, and the biggest hub for smoking cigarettes is university, and complaining that you have too much work to do whilst what do you call it? Like, procrastinating on doing your actual work. You know? Oh, is it? I've forgotten what they called it. Mukawama. Mukawama? I don't know how you say it. Smoking strengthens your lungs. Exactly. It makes you cough up all the bad stuff. Goats are another example. While scenes of starving horses stumbling through the streets of southern villages circulated on social media throughout 2024, and cats and dogs in borderland villages were reduced to skin and bones, goats are known for their abilities to thrive in adversity. They nimbly browse across the hills and valleys of the borderland, defying the explosives mined in the ground because they are too light to spring them. Did any of you know that goats apparently don't set off landmines? I have never heard that. I have never heard this story. It is not a fail-safe strategy, but it has allowed goats and their human companions, who make a living alongside them, to continue to thrive in the deadly landscape and resistantly reoccupy land that has been made deadly by US-made and Israeli-planted mines. I knew goats are rugged and that they can basically live with nothing, but I didn't know that they didn't set off landmines. I would have assumed that they would have set off landmines. But this is sad as well. In the summer of 2024, an Israeli attack on a farm in Jezin killed 700 goats and ruined the livelihood of a livestock farmer. This pattern is repeated across the south and in Palestine. The Israeli war machine targets those resistant ecologies that have, until now, enabled life to continue in a land it wants to empty of life and resistance. By the way, this is the difference between, like, academia and fucking debates. When you're talking to some idiot on TikTok, all they're going to care about is coming up with ways to justify Israel killing people. And when you listen to academics talking, they're like talking about resistance and stuff. Resistance through ecology and stuff, which is, yeah. No, nicotine isn't exclusively found in tobacco. You can get nicotine in here. Yes, smoking on the devil's lettuce is good until you try and quit. Yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe it's because they have a small footprint. I would assume it's actually more to do with the weight and the way in which a goat places its weight. I would think, actually, if I were to guess. I don't know why. In fact, should we Google, why don't goats set off landmines? I'm sure this won't return anything. Oh, you were correct. This is another article about this. Most crucially, goats are small and light and can graze in the borderlands many minefields without setting off hidden explosives designed to kill humans who are not light-footed. Shout out to the goats out there. They the real goat. But yeah, it's really interesting. This article's good. It's really sad, though, like just the destruction of southern Lebanon and trying to make life impossible there, so southern Lebanese people are just basically unable to return to the land because Israel needs to have protection from people that it has attacked over and over again. And the things that they've been doing in Lebanon, I feel like are really going under the radar. Especially, the most notable is the attack on Ain al-Hilwa. Ain al-Hilwa is a Palestinian refugee camp inside Lebanon. So it is in... I don't actually know where it is in Lebanon. I just know the name. It means sweet natural spring in Arabic. We are... So Ain al-Hilwa is in western Lebanon, a bit to the south of Beirut. It's quite near the sea. It's a Palestinian refugee camp with... I don't actually know how many people live there. 80,000 people live in Ain al-Hilwa, which is just crazy. It's in Sida. Thank you. Being safe in Beirut, but hearing constant drone noises. Yeah, 100%. What did you say, Sophie, about Cambodia? Goats are awesome in general. Indeed they are. Very interesting creatures. My local park has goats. Yeah. I saw some this summer, like mountain goats. And it's just crazy that they're like living in these places that are so inhospitable. It's like Chris guessed light-footed means they hesitate to put their weight on a foot. Not that they are light, although I'm not sure. Wait. It's like Chris guessed, light-footed means that they are hesitate to put weight on the foot. Is that really it? And is that part of like the way in which they live as animals? Was I about to sing "We Are Charlie Kirk"? I didn't even remember doing that. I mean, sorry to just distract because this is an important story, but apparently there's a video of Elon Musk singing something here, which I want to show. And we'll quickly do this before I get into this story, because it's obviously... Someone said they wanted me to mix in light-hearted stuff, so...
He built on the Bible, his family stood strong, with love in their hearts, where faith belongs. A husband, a father, courageous and kind.
This is not as good as We Are Charlie Kirk.
A beacon of light in a world gone blind. Charlie Kirk, a warrior of truth, faithful to God.
Why is the old Chinese lady or the Asian lady crying? I guess, to be fair, you've got to admit that, like, Charlie Kirk really did transcend boundaries. You know, he was not racist. He was actually, like, a loving, kind, friendly guy, I think most people would say. Really. Why does he look like Tom Cruise? I don't know. And also, there is a comment that I really wanted to address. A goat bit my ass as a child, but I have learned to forgive him, her, / them. Thank you for being woke on that. Why did they bite your ass? Why was the goat doing that? And sorry, have you just come up with this now? Hila Klein will sing this song for Israel at the Eurovision under her stage name, Lana Del Reyder. Have you just come up with Lana Del Reyder now? Marcus is on a generational run today, getting his ass bitten by goats. Yeah, very woke to forgive the goat, and also to give it the weight of saying that it may actually be a non-binary goat. That's the kind of stuff that the right wants to take away from you. Goats don't need a reason to bite you on the ass. Well, like, how do you get into a situation where a goat is, like, next to your ass? Like, how does that happen? Exactly. Pastor Bus Vods is talking... Are you really surprised that Pastor Bus is the person who made the La Boo-Boo, the Kunz Boo-Boo, when he has such prescient analysis as that? Charlie Kirk was full of love. The love of being an absolute racist bastard. Ramalana Del Raider. Jesus. Y'all are wrong for this one. The red Labubu's are goated. Shall I add more Labubus? We do have an animated Labubu as well, but I don't know how the Labubu animation works. Only evil people make enemies of goats. The goats from southern Lebanon. Why are goats from... is it anti-Semitic for southern Lebanese goats to bite them on the ass? To bite Israelis on the ass? I don't know. I'm looking into this. Rashad Al-Haddad just ratioed Drew Pavlou as well. Drew Pavlou said... he said, burn in hell, Hassan. I mean, it's great to know that, like, today, Ethan Klein's political opinions are basically just Rashad Al-Haddad. And you're right, I should break up these, like, more serious stories. Because, you know, it's nice to do this stuff. I don't know if you've seen this. Hassan met Xi Jinping. Very clearly real. Of course he did. Literally burn in hell, Hassan. By the way, like, you know, celebrating these countries here... Bro's got 2 out of 4 settler colonies here. You alone are burning the fire of racism. Soon you will be in prison if you make another mistake. Rashad Al-Haddad is on fire. You live in Yemen, buddy. At least with my dignity. That is a banger tweet from him. In fact, Rashad, that'll be retweeted. Good man. God. Also, listen to this. The government is set to scrap trial by jury for most cases. Only murder, rape, manslaughter, and a few public interest cases will go to a jury, while all other cases will be decided by a single judge. Amazing stuff is happening in the UK. Ugh. Troubling as always. And Taiwan. Taiwan's not technically a settler colony, no. Wax figures, just pre-AI images. Maybe you're onto something there. Maybe you're onto their politics. The clip of him yelling at his dad is funny. Yeah, by the way, they're doing that to... New York Times headline. US plans compounds to house Palestinians in Israeli-held half of Gaza. Maybe I'll cover that tomorrow. I don't know if I'm in a stream tomorrow because I've got to research for Isaac. So we're definitely going to have from now on 4 streams a week. One of them may end up being on the weekend, on picking one of the days on the weekend and doing like a fun one. But yeah, we'll see. Taiwan is odd. I know it's called something of China, but I never really recognized it as that. Isn't the legacy of what it is basically where Chiang Kai-shek fled to, right? And that's where it came out of, is it not? Also, I was looking at this. I always forget that when I was in Tajikistan, that's the only time I've ever been in a country that borders China, I think. Well, does Uzbekistan border China? I'm pretty sure it does. Maybe I'm wrong. No, Uzbekistan doesn't. Only Tajikistan. I was wrong. They have some crazy ass borders over there. Wait, look at this. Look at this border. this border is actually insane. This border between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. Look at this here. This area here is fucking wild. Sorry to just go off topic. Fucking hell. Just look at going through up here. It's dangerous at the moment. You can do it, but yeah, I didn't go there. I went this way. So I went to Panjakent, which is somewhere here, there. So we drove from Dushanbe all the way up here and then down here. It is unbelievably beautiful, by the way. And it was so cheap. It was like $50 per trip. Amazing thing to do. And then, yeah, we went to Samarkand, which is here. Sorry, I'm kind of just talking about now Tajikistan, but it's so interesting. So I was thinking about that. Like, I kind of forgot. Because Tajikistan, of course, borders Xinjiang. Which even looking at China is just unbelievable. To look at the scale of China. Like, how large China is. And, like, how diverse all of these places actually are. Right, we'll go back to Ain al-Helway now. Okay, so this is kind of a story that got largely ignored. Sorry for the, offshoot. But yeah, someone said big in chat, and I totally agree with you in that topic. But yeah, there were people who lived in Taiwan before. But, like, ultimately, the US only cares about, like, Taiwan for the same reason it cares about Korea. Like, Korea never should have been divided, by the way. And, like, the US has absolutely no right to talk about, like, other countries' actions in these places with the way that it has behaved and basically has, like, a little fucking colony, a little state in the Middle East, you know? Right. So, this is the claim being made by Al-Khatin. Al-Khatin? I don't know what that is, but it doesn't really say this. It might be the name of someone. Tharmin Al-Khatin, OCHR. So the OCHR, the Office of the Council of Human Rights, I believe it is saying that all the fatalities we have documented as a result of this strike were civilians, raises serious concerns that the Israeli military may have violated international humanitarian law principles on the conduct of hostilities. They bombed a fucking refugee camp filled with Palestinians. Like, a refugee camp filled with people who have been expelled from Palestine decades ago and are still not allowed a state. And they just bombed it. They killed 13 people, potentially all civilians. You know who else did this shit? Fucking South Africa. I was about to say China bombing refugee camps. South Africa did this in Angola. They bombed a refugee camp, but they killed hundreds of people. Yeah, I know, may have. The UN Human Rights Office, we read that. The appeal comes amid escalating Israeli military operations in Lebanon, nearly a year after the ceasefire. Almost a year since the ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel was agreed, we continue to witness increasing attacks by the Israeli military, resulting in the killing of civilians, destruction of civilian objects in Lebanon, coupled with alarming threats of a wider, intensified conflict. OCHR spokesperson Tharmin Al-Khatin told reporters in Geneva. He noted that the Israeli military's attacks have resulted in the killing of at least 120 civilians in Lebanon since the ceasefire agreement came into effect in November 17th, 2024. It's saying at least 13 civilians, including 11 children, were killed, and at least 6 civilians were injured. Bro, if that happens in Israel, that's like a national tragedy that we all have to go, no, 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 and the entire world comes out and condemns. When Israel bombs Palestinian children in a refugee camp, they love it. They love it. We love it, and we must support them. Apparently, Ukraine agreed with peace conditions. Really? I wouldn't. The White House says a peace deal is close. Wow. Wow. Jesus. Oh, wait. This article is saying that... I'm shocked about that. But this is the issue. Discuss sensitive points with Trump. I feel like Ukraine is not going to be so hot on ceding territory. So it remains to be seen what's going to go on there. Most moral army. Surely they called and texted before the bombings. Yeah. You know, South Africa did that as well. Like, Israel and its supporters act as if that's unprecedented. South Africa used to drop leaflets on people before it went and killed them. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't really change. When you're fighting for your apartheid regime, it's bad. It's bad, objectively. Well, no, it's apparently coming from Zelensky that it's moving forward. But I will say, like, two of my friends who study and love the, like the inner workings of their conflict in Ukraine, what they've been saying is that Russia has just been grinding Ukraine down, and that the sanctions have never worked in the way that the West had hoped, and it probably won't ever work. But yeah, just going back to this, the OCHR is saying that all civilians who all the fatalities that we have documented were civilians. Israel killed 13 civilians, 11 children, in a refugee camp in Lebanon, and it's just kind of something that they do. There's 64,000 people, mostly from southern Lebanon, who are displaced, and Israel started constructing a wall at crossing Lebanese territory that makes 4,000 meters inaccessible to the population. Where actually is this wall? I've heard about it and seen it. Israel fucking loves walls.
Israel has
a few days
occupied to adorn the landscape in and Israel. A complaint against Israel with the United Nations. It says Israel has built a wall inside its territory. The Lebanese government
Is this the wall that it's built?
Released images showing the wall crossing the blue line. That's the unofficial border between Lebanon and Israel. Israeli troops are stationed on 5 hilltops. The Israeli military has also declared 2 buffer zones or no-go areas.
Just slowly encroaching and stealing Lebanese territory whilst they massacre people in refugee camps, and then they kill like one Hezbollah senior military figure, and it's like, no, it was actually really cool and epic. And it's just like, what is this? Like, what is this? Why do you bother defending this? It's disgusting. Yeah, and I think that maybe the thing that suggests that the deal isn't close is like just kind of saying, like, you know, well, we've got to work on sensitive issues. But like this as well from the UN Office of the High Commissioner, Human Rights, the Office of the High Commissioner, not human, I don't know what I said it was. But I liked his name, Maurice Tidball Binns. I wonder what he looks like. I actually want to see. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent. He looks relatively normal. Just an interesting name. Maurice Tidball Binns. Wow. Just an odd name. You can share a link or send it to one of the mods. It goes through Yarun in southern Lebanon. Their favorite anime must be Attack on Titan. You're talking about the Israelis. I saw a vid of a Palestinian going to a wedding after evacuation leaflets were dropped for the area it was being held in. This shit is so insane. Yeah, these evacuation leaflets are the biggest loads of bullshit. But this, like, notes, according to reports, an Israeli drone strike hit Ain al-Helwe, a Palestinian camp near Sidon, killing at least 14 people, among them, among them 12 children, and injuring at least 6 others, making it the deadliest single strike since the November 24 ceasefire. Israel claimed it was targeting a Hamas training compound. Like, it's amazing. Israel just says we're targeting a Hamas training compound, and we just believe them because that's what it does. Look, but listen to this as well. You kind of forget that this all happens. I mean, I'd forgotten that this has happened. I don't even know if I saw this. On the 16th of November 2025, an Israeli Merkava tank fired on a UNIFIL patrol inside Lebanese territory, with shells landing only a few meters from the peacekeepers, endangering their lives. This followed an incident on the 26th of October in 2025, when an Israeli drone flew close to a UNIFIL position operating near Kfar Kila and dropped a grenade moments before an Israeli tank fired towards them. Like, it's just truly unbelievable. Like, Israel will just continually get away with violating the ceasefire, And then there will be people who are continually going on about how it's actually Hezbollah that are the problem, when Israel proves over and over again that it is the issue, that it is the one that does not want peace. And then there's this article which is by Hiba Nasser for Middle East Eye, and it's like a pretty good synthesis of other reporting on this kind of stuff. But there's like it kind of talks about this, which is the main problem for Hezbollah in the current status quo, and it's kind of like, what can Hezbollah do without launching a full-scale conflict? Because where Hezbollah can inflict damage on Israel is through a full-scale military conflict where Israel has to come in, and they've blown the load of the pager attack, and it hasn't quite gotten rid of Hezbollah. And so what Israel really wants is to maintain this current situation. It's very clear that the resistance in Lebanon, like all of the movements, are very heavily compromised, because how else are they getting all of this intelligence out? It doesn't happen with Hamas. Like, Israel will sometimes assassinate a senior Hamas figure, but I mean, it hasn't been confirmed by Hamas, but he hasn't spoken. But Abu Ubaidah was killed after, it took 2 years to get Abu Ubaidah. It took over a year to kill Sinwar, whereas, they have known over and over again where senior Hezbollah officials are. Like, killing someone this senior in Hezbollah after killing his predecessor is, significant. Very little coverage of that. Yeah, indeed. Saida. Thank you for the... do you mean Sidon? I thought it was Sidon, because... Sin? Yeah? I don't know. But yeah, there's some analysis in that. But just listen to this. Near daily Israeli strikes and operations have continued, killing more than 300 people since the ceasefire, including at least 100 civilians, according to the UN. Hezbollah has not attacked Israel since the ceasefire began. And according to Ynet News, because of course, Israeli outlets, they're telling us that Israel has carried out nearly 1,200 operations in 21 Lebanese villages along the southern border, which remain heavily damaged and largely depopulated due to the continued Israeli presence and activity. The report said the scale of these operations described as unprecedented and reminiscent of the army's activities in the occupied West Bank. I wouldn't really necessarily compare it to that. I think it's more like Gaza in the sense of they're like just burning down territory and agricultural land to make the land unlivable, whereas the settlers mostly do that in the West Bank. In the West Bank, they basically just protect settlers. Do you also remember when the Israeli archaeologist got killed in Lebanon? That was a crazy story. This, like, piece of shit Israeli fucking archaeologist who does, like, settler tours of the West Bank and is like an awful guy. He was Zaev Erlich was heralded by far-right Israelis as a pioneer of illegal Israeli settlements, and his presence in South Lebanon raises questions. His entire career was just basically dedicated to like pretending Palestinians didn't exist. And then the Israeli soldiers took him into the West Bank and he just got smoked in a gunfight and he was like not a soldier. This was an unbelievable story. But the pager attack were military genius. Right? Definitely not a war crime. Yeah, it's also about where they exploded that makes it such a war crime. And like in any other place you would say that that's a major war crime, you know? In the same way that any other country who was acting like Israel does would be seen as the violator of the ceasefire.
سياسة القادم معروفة عندهم من أيام الأربعينات معروفة كيف بيقدموا الأرض شيئا فشيئا. قبل هذه الحرب ما كان في جدار أبدا، كان في هالسياج اللي موجود حد الطريق اللي بيعملوا عليه دورية حد البساتين هون، وهذا الجدار الاسمنتي عم يشتغلوا فيه بسرعة، ورش عم تشتغل بسرعة، وما بنعرف شو الهدف منه، ولكن كل ما عملوا جزء من هذا الجدار الاسمنتي بنلاحظ نحن كل فترة كل ما يقطعوا مسافة بيفوتوا لهم شوية وعلى الأرض إذا بيفوت من هون صفر بيطلع بالآخر.
I cannot wait for the day that all of these walls fully come down. It will provide the same catharsis that was provided by the collapse of the Berlin Wall to many people. Although it will objectively be like, you know, a much better thing in terms of the world the day that all of these Israeli walls and monstrous borders come down. Because no matter how repressive the Stasi were, they never reached this kind of fucking level.
4 كيلومتر.
هذا الجدار اللي عم بيعملوه هذا جدار يعني مبين لسنين.
اليونيفيل عم يتواجد بالمنطقة هون أو بس حكى إنه في خرق وفل؟
لا هن عم بيتواجدوا على طول عندهم دوريات بالمنطقة عندنا هون. خروقات هي مش بس على الأرض، هي الخروقات على الأرض وبالسماء يعني بنكون بالليل نحن بنسمع صوت دبابات بس وين ما حدا بيعرف هن بفوتوا بيطلعوا يعني ما في احترام للسيادة اللبنانية.
هذا الجدار ما بيبشر بالخير لأنه ما في عنا حدا يردعهم. عم يسرقوا ما حدا بيردعهم. بيتمادوا بالسرقة لأنه نحن كمان كل ما سرقوا كل ما وطينا راسنا كدولة كسلطة. نحن عم نشوفهم كيف بيفوتوا على أرضنا، كيف بتفوت آلياتهم، كيف
And also, I just want to say that, like, once again, this is the kind of problem with any kind of analysis that basically portrays why southern Lebanese people or anyone are just like puppets of Iran. Like, you can see someone talking like this and you know maybe this guy's someone who likes Hezbollah anyway. But, like, if you just listen to the experience, are you really surprised that people who live in the south of Lebanon and experience the brunt of Israeli policies hold a disdain for Israel? Like, this is why I also fucking hate Zionist propagandists. People like Hila and Ethan Klein in particular, who say Israel is constantly under attack from its neighbors, but also purport to be like pro-Palestinian leftists. Because do you not see the major link between these two things, you know?
كل صلافة يظهروا حتى إذا كان الدوري للجيش اللبناني يعني بيمروا وكأنه ما في حدا قدامهم. هذا مؤسف جدا. نحن بدنا هذه السلطة تدعم هذا الجيش. ما بنرضى أبدا أولادنا وضباطنا يظلوا ينهانوا أمام هذا العدو.
Yeah, really interesting. Thanks for that. Really interesting. Okay, I think we'll... is there anything else I wanted to cover? 1,200 operations... Oh, of course. Wait. So, this is the other story. Israel used widely banned cluster munitions in Lebanon, photos of remnants suggest. So there are, like, photos and it's talking about them. The key points from this article are kind of, like, about how... apparently Israel now claims that their cluster bombs are better, because the reason that cluster bombs are banned is basically because they have duds and some of them don't explode and it scatters small bombs all over the place, which of course is dangerous, but Israel doesn't care. Israel doesn't care because children, women, men, civilians dying, that's okay as long as they're not, you know, Israelis. You know, anything going on there. And Israeli Jewish people, actually, I must add. Palestinians getting killed. Thumbs up by Israel. But yeah, so Israel's not technically party, because of course it's not. Hold on, I'll move myself. So Israel is not party to the Convention on Cluster Munitions, which forbids their use, production, and transfer. But, like, generally, these are just, like, bad things because they kill civilians, and I thought that we're all meant to agree that doing that is bad. Yaroun is my family's sources. You can actually see some of our land in that video. And Fuad Saleh tills the land for farmers in the village. Crazy. I'm so sorry that that's the experience of living in Lebanon. It's just the curse of living next to fucking Israel. Like, I'm sorry, and people will be like, how dare you say that? And then people in Lebanon are blighted by Hezbollah, and it's like, yeah, be that as it may. Like, Israel's the one bombing them and stealing the land, you know? But yeah, like, listen to this. Israel blanketed Lebanon with 4-meter cluster bombs, or 4M cluster bombs, I don't know what that means, in the final days of the 2006 war, with an estimated 1M failing to explode. The presence of unexploded cluster bombs continues to make life in South Lebanon dangerous, with more than 400 people killed by unexploded bomblets since 2006. That's 400 people's lives gone, you know. The huge number of unexploded cluster bombs in Lebanon was a main driving factor for the drafting of the Cluster Convention in 2008. But yeah, oh wait, there's an amazing bit here. Despite not being a party to the convention, Israeli officials condemned Iran's use of cluster munitions in Israel during the summer's 12-day war. The terror regime seeks to harm civilians and even use weapons with wide dispersal in order to maximize the scope of damage, said the Israeli military spokesman Brig General Efi Defrin. After an Iranian strike used cluster munitions on populated areas in southern Israel. Amazing. But yeah, apparently the Ra'am Eitan, the one that they're currently using, had a dud rate of 0.01%. But apparently this isn't true. Apparently this isn't true, according to Gabelnick and other arms experts who claimed the industries just lie. But yeah, Israel is doing amazing things. White phosphorus, cluster munitions, it doesn't care. If you get in its way, it's going to bomb you. It's going to take your land. It's going to alter your politics. And there are apologists who will continually tell you that Israel is actually epic and moral and just and that we should support it because, I don't know, everyone's a radical jihadi. But yeah, right, let's move on to covering probably what a lot of you have been waiting for, which is Ethan Klein. Although before we start that, there is a banger video which I'll treat you all. You guys have all been really good, and you've eaten down your news without complaining, and so now you can have some slop. Particularly this bit of slop, which is amazing.
Next thing is this Mizkif lawsuit, which
I think we're out of. I don't think we have time for that because that's quite a big thing.
How long we've been going?
3.5 hours.
This is in 2x speed, so I don't want to. Because this is what I don't want to cover. Let's watch the H3 podcast. Hong ye hong tong tong e Xinzhong di taie Shen Mao Zedong e Ta Li Ni Woman Tenji Fang e Ye Yi Zu Yo Ha Ya Ya Zu Yo Ha. I love that shit. What was I gonna search? Oh, this is at the end.
Thank you very much.
So then the next thing is this Mizkif lawsuit, which
I think we're out of. I don't think we have time for that because that's quite a big thing.
How long we've been going?
3.5 hours.
Ooh, that's a long time.
That's how much fun we're having.
It is.
Do we have any other stuff at the top here to hit off here? Maybe like another 10 minutes. Let me see.
Oh, can we do the Owen Cook video? Because I'd like to introduce this.
I love Owen Cook.
All right, let's end it with one. Cook.
And also I want to show the Hassan doing the. I have to show him singing the old like Maoist.
Was that real?
Yeah, it's real. He's doing a China tour and he's singing like this old propaganda pro-Maoist song, and he's with a bunch of CCP people who are giving him a tour around China and
like I said,
being his handler. And they're all like, "Why do you know this?" It was very interesting.
It's a meme online. It is a meme online, and it's awesome that he knows it. It's a great song. Didn't Ethan Klein post like a story where he posted about this? I'm sure he posted about that. Hold on.
Okay.
But if we're gonna be riding that soundbite, which I believe is the right thing to do, then we should be. We just got to show him singing the thing because it's also like very John Cena, which is one of my favorite. You know.
Chung Cena.
John Cena. John Cena. Can you play that, please? Why is there an echo on it?
Because it's not that great audio.
That's what it sounded like in the original?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, because he's singing into a mic.
Yeah.
I remember. So he's with...
Also, by the way, it's because the YouTube video has like lyrics on of how to sing it with phonetic Chinese pronunciation.
The Chinese government definitely honeypotted the fuck out of him.
Oh, come on, bro. You are not doing good work for the whole pro-Israel supporters can only steal people's jokes. Come on, bro. You know Bad Empanada got you on the honeypot.
He's surrounded by like CCP agents who are all like young, beautiful women at all times, giving him gifts and shit and hyping him up. Literally, I'm not even kidding. It's crazy business. But
Like
anyway.
this girl right here?
Yeah.
No. That's Carolyn Kwan,
No, it's
Austin's
not.
girlfriend.
Doesn't look like her.
Is now for the Billy.
Oh, that is right. That is.
okay.
But they're in all the clips you can see.
funny.
Yeah. Didn't look like her. I know who she is.
What? Red sun in the
Dude, his
sky.
head looks so small right now.
To be fair, his head does look really small. Is this edited? Because this looks actually like problematically small. But my head's problematically big, so.
Yeah,
like it looks particularly tiny.
I just pull it up on the phone.
Oh, you just want me to sing it? That's gonna be the backing track of my vlog.
He looks like you know what he looks like? Hold
Yeah, it is kind of a crazy to assume that all of these people are CCP agents.
on. You gotta see this.
Yeah.
Moving. Yeah.
Also, by the way, Ethan literally referred to the Birthright as a Jewish dating simulator. So, you know.
Dude, I've said that about him.
No, but this one is like this picture.
Because he's wearing the same jacket. He's wearing the same fucking jacket.
Exactly.
He's the little head dude from Beetlejuice for sure.
No, not Beetlejuice.
No, that's Goomba.
No, this is the
Super
Goombas from
movie.
Mario.
Oh, that's from Mario.
Yeah. Isn't this?
I
Go
thought
back
that
and
was a
forth, Nate.
Beetlejuice character.
I know what you're talking about.
Don't they?
Hey,
look
we
the
used to joke about that on Leftovers, but in this particular bus shot,
They're also
Nate, show
just
it.
they're also
Show,
just
his
like
screen.
commie Nazi type of authoritarians.
Commie Nazi authoritarians. What are you talking about there?
I feel like for him.
They're Goombas.
I feel like the Nazis dressed specifically very differently to the vast majority of other people in terms of the level of, you know, sort of tailoring. Well, I don't actually know enough about like who made Red Army uniforms, but I doubt that it was to the level of Nazi uniforms, especially the upper echelons.
All right. Anyways, go ahead.
Warsaw International.
Billy. Wait, hold on. Let me introduce it. Billy, this is our love song to you.
Do you know this
Hassan singing in his native Chinese language. Go ahead.
Glory to CCP.
Wait.
Or no, wait.
No, he's got it.
Glory to fucking Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, it's the international, but I don't
I'm
know.
sorry. Will. That's Will, not Austin. Chat saying Austin's gay. My fault.
That's Will's girlfriend.
Will, and I know Will, and he's such a nice guy. I'm sorry.
That's all. Yeah, we know who they are. It's just a mix-up.
Sorry, I didn't know.
It's also, once again, I really, really love this thing. Coco Chanel also designed them, right? But it's also really funny that, like, apparently Hassan is like, I just love this inconsistency of apparently Hassan is like chief terror lover of the world, and like his friends who are literally on and like doing the most awful things in the world. But then like AB's just chirps up and is like, yeah, I really like this Will Neff guy, and it's like, what are you talking about, man? Your boss is here having a meltdown.
You didn't say anything.
Dude, red sun in the sky.
Okay,
Here we
I'm
go.
gonna do it. Hold on. This is To Honggang. Is that how you say it? Yeah, Tu Honggang, yes. Tu Honggang. Yeah. Also known as Red Sun. Taylor's version.
We had to buy it back from Scooter.
See, this is their Gloria CCP.
This song goes hard. It's a good song.
You know what's
Also, it's really funny making this connection between what's it called? Mao and like the current Chinese Communist Party. It's like it's a really interesting thing to do, and say this kind of stuff when like the party is specifically de-Maoified. So surely like bringing up Mao songs, well, they can't really get rid of Mao from their history, but like singing Mao songs in the current era, you know, it's not really glory to the Chinese Communist Party, is it?
Son sings Red Sun in the Sky of Shangxing. I think that's where all the Uyghurs are.
This is amazing as well. this is also just like, yeah, this is just like a thing. China, an amazing thing, because obviously it's in Xinjiang, but like Ethan and like the people around him are like regularly their justification for people not talking about, you know, Palestine, or not being allowed, is because they can't point out Palestine on a map. But this guy's apparently a China expert, and he didn't know that Chongqing is not, you know, Xinjiang.
Like, human or not human. Yeah, they are kind of being human trafficked. They're like forced into slavery.
Well, look, like Mao.
I think that's the province they're from. Shaoxing.
I don't think so.
But is that a song like pro Mao?
Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption. It is. There's another part which we'll get. We'll do a whole video about it. But he accepts the Mao's little red book and starts fanboying out from a government agent.
But dude, he realized like during the Great Cultural Revolution, like tens of millions of people died of starvation.
Like 50 million.
Yeah, like yeah.
In part, so I was reading about like approximations of this. It came from like Mao's failed policies in part, and not appreciating how significant drought was. But also, like, during this time, they were expanding, like, healthcare and education, like, throughout these regions. You can't, like, entirely not say it's Mao's fault, but it's also really funny to just be like, communism has all these victims. Bro, how many victims of capitalism are there? How many victims of colonialism are there? Literally almost the entirety of the native indigenous population of the Americas. Tens of millions of Congolese people. Millions and millions of people interned in Algeria.
50, 60 million, right? So
Listen.
like we're gonna glaze them up.
Listen.
Am I missing something?
No, the ends justify the means, my friend. Glorious Chinese Revolution. What was I gonna?
There are some people who estimate 100 million Native Americans were killed. Wait. So there was a population of 50 to 100 million indigenous people of the Americas, and apparently it dropped to about 5 million. And that was done by literally colonialism birthed by capitalism. Exactly. Maximus Baron, you said, hi, Jew here who has actually faced anti-Semitism. The thing is Ethan has faced anti-Semitism, 100%. He had a campaign of some right-winger who was involved in, like, actually trying to kill and harm Jewish people. But, like, he doesn't care about that. He just cares about talking about Hassan. And it's so ridiculous. And yeah, the indigenous people, I know, of the Americas. But it's all from the same product of capitalism and Western imperialism, you know? But of course, no one would ever say that. Like, literally the nation, which in your thing you said you loved. You literally said that you loved America, and that we should all agree on loving America in your context, Nuke.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, that was fun. So now we know what that is anyway, just to give you a little context. And then can you play him and John Cena at the same time?
I don't have John Cena.
What?
What John Cena?
Here, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up on YouTube. Yeah. And we can do it at the same time. On Cena.
Jesus Christ. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, it is just amazing. Like, the amount of people exterminated by colonialism, exterminated in the process of building the country that you love, was millions upon millions. And there was no, like, benefit for them. There was no, like, leap forward for the indigenous people of those places. They're just exterminated and gone now. Like, yeah, some remain, but they're still marginalized. You know? Right, we'll watch Kaceytron talk about her, because this has provoked some just wonderful reactions from leftist pro-Palestine world of Ethan Klein fandom.
Okay. So, first of all, my intention of this statement is not to blame Ethan Klein or accuse him of malicious conduct. So, please refrain from making any hateful posts about him. If he believes he has a copyright claim, he is entitled to pursue it. My intention is to shed some light on the financial strain this is causing me and my family, and also why I made a settlement offer to Ethan. So when this lawsuit began, it was unclear how myself and my family were going to survive this. It is only due to the unbelievable generosity of others that I have been able to afford the devastating financial effects of this lawsuit. I will forever be grateful for the kindness and support that I've received during this dark time in my life. We have raised just over $49,000 on my GoFundMe. I have also contributed another $5,000 from various marathons and fundraising, bringing the total up to $54,000. All of these funds were deposited into a separate bank account that I opened exclusively for legal expenses. None of these funds have been used for any personal expense. They have been used exclusively for my legal fees. These funds are not going to last much longer, given the needs of the litigation and the work that is being done to defend against Ethan Klein's lawsuit. In September, I made a settlement offer to Ethan for $17,500. This offer was publicly revealed by Ethan to his Instagram followers. This settlement offer...
By the way, if you claim that your audience is leftist, if you claim that you are a leftist, Ethan sits there and flexes tens of thousands, maybe even $100,000 worth of watches just over and over again and shows them off. He doesn't need this money. He doesn't even need, he could have just taken the settlement and been like, we own them, we won, look, I was so right. But of course he didn't, because he doesn't actually care. He just wants a win for his horrible right-wing audience.
That I made was in no way, shape, or form an attempt to make a payday. It was because the looming threat of financial ruin is a stress that I would not wish on to anyone. My mother, father, and sister all struggle with disability and housing instability. They are my family and they depend on me. Just this month, like many other low-income Americans, my mother and disabled sister had their food stamps taken away. Under the current political climate, the future of funding for other assistance is uncertain. I cannot afford to fail them. I simply want this nightmare to be over so that I can go back to providing my family with my full support. Ethan Klein is suing me for $150,000, which is the maximum damages for malicious copyright infringement. I believe it is highly unlikely that a court would find me liable for copyright infringement at all, and certainly not malicious copyright infringement. My offer was tied to the maximum damages for normal copyright infringement, which has a maximum damage of $30,000. Considering it is unlikely there are any damages at all that I could have caused, even if I am found liable for copyright infringement, my offer of $17,500 felt very generous. For me, that is a lot of money, and it would have come directly from my own pocket. On this note, I want to clarify that any donations that I have received are being used for my legal defense costs.
The greatest leftist, the legend, stealing $17,500 or forcing a lawsuit out of someone for $17,500 when you live in a multi-million-dollar mansion. And like being unwilling to also confront the fact that, you know, you regularly whine about the Trump administration and the bad things it's doing, and not just having the grace to say, actually, I know in Trump's America this is really fucked up, and like, you know what, Ethan still gets his win. I think it is kind of how Asmongold put it, though. Asmongold wants this to go to trial so he gets his epic owns that he can react to on live stream and go, I'm based, and then go back to like justifying and supporting the killing of minorities and authoritarianism.
Against Ethan, nothing else. These funds will not be a part of any settlement offer. In the event that we were to settle, I will take responsibility for any settlement, and any remaining funds would go towards the remaining parties that are also being sued by Ethan. I have no intention to keep any money from this fundraising for any personal use whatsoever. If we are unable to reach a settlement soon, this could stretch all the way to December of next year and cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawyers' fees through the end of the trial. To be clear, I don't make anywhere near this kind of money. Like most Americans, I live paycheck to paycheck. I do not have any personal savings. Over the years, I've been stretched very thin because I help support multiple family members. I want to make it clear to Ethan, I will gladly set aside my ego and do whatever is necessary and consistent with my principles to resolve this matter and get back to what matters most to me, helping my family in this devastating financial climate. I feel deeply guilty even asking for community funding during such difficult times because I realize I'm asking for help from people who are also facing financial hardships. Since this lawsuit was announced, it has resulted in a barrage of hate and harassment that has been incredibly mentally taxing. Every day across all of my social media, I am relentlessly reminded that my life could be ruined, that myself and my family could wind up living on the streets, that Ethan is going to foreclose on my home.
Like, I genuinely, if this is the audience that this piece of shit has cultivated, like, genuinely, I just think to take a moment. This man sits there. It's not just that he claims to be pro-Palestine that's disgusting. It is even more disgusting that he claims to be any leftist of any variety or form, and that anyone who has anything to do with him, who pretends to espouse those values, that it's like, yeah, awesome, my multi-million-dollar epic leader is gonna sue women and put them out on the street, someone with multiple disabled family members, but I actually care about leftism. Also, look at my $10,000, my $100,000 watch. Look at my $10 million mansion that I live in the Hollywood Hills. Wow, I'm so amazing and a leftist. I can't believe the guy who experienced the exact same thing in 2016 and won his copyright case is now doing the same thing to smaller creators. Fucking shameful. The whole thing is shameful, and it is disgusting that this man thinks he is a leftist. And look what they said about Madison. Madison, someone with a child. Generational debt from Madison. Generational debt for Madison. All his followers going, can't wait until she's in debt. Generational debt. Licking their lips at the thought of someone being financially punished.
All realities that feel very real to me right now, and all being used by hateful onlookers to push me into killing myself. The thought of dealing with the constant doxing, threats to my life, and harassment for another year is extremely dark. This treatment wears on a person, and it has left me feeling extremely drained, isolated, and depressed. Moving forward, I'll continue to provide any updates on any future developments. It may end up being a long road, and I'm going to be working hard to keep up with the legal fees every month for as long as is necessary if this litigation is not settled soon. I've changed my GoFundMe goal to better reflect the cost of this sort of litigation. Again, these funds are exclusively for my lawyer fees. This is not money that will go towards any sort of settlement or to any of my personal expenses. Please consider donating or even signing up for a monthly donation. Check out any of my links below. You can also support by tuning into any of my live streams and social media. Even just some positivity in the sea of negativity means everything right now. Thank you all so much for listening to my side of the story. And again, thank you all for the love and support. Okay, that's all I had to say. And yeah, obviously I'm reading from a script. Like, obviously it was something that I wrote. And
it's just such a waste of time and money that Ethan doesn't need, that he doesn't care about. Like, and also, by the way, this is apparently Ethan's story that was deleted. So this is alleged, because I never saw this. But it doesn't surprise me. Kaceytron, you raised 44,517. You offered me 17,500. This leaves you $27,000. Under no circumstances have you paid your lawyers $27,000. What were you planning on doing with the remaining money? Trying to catch a payday? I rejected her offer, obviously. She literally said that money, I assumed that the money would have just been given back. Like, I genuinely assumed that the money would have just been given back. Because you can cancel a GoFundMe, right? Like, that's a thing. I'm pretty sure that you can cancel it and then people just get their money back. But she said in that video that she's going to pay out of her own pocket. And yeah, listen to this. Hearing people victimize themselves over criticisms, meanwhile their boss is using... Oh, no, wait. Oh, that's Ethan's response to the previous lawsuit. That's not his response to this current video. So yeah, I have seen this before. This is an old thing. But like in the way that his boss... in the way that AB victimizes himself and he's like, I have to support my family members. And then is also just taking obscene money from a man and not speaking out at all about this guy who's the plan of his life is just to sue other people, and bring misery and ruin into their lives that is just loved by his fans. Like, let's be frank here. Ethan doesn't care about any of this. Ethan doesn't care about the money. He cares about punishing people. And that's why all of these people like Asmongold... Like, do you remember when Asmongold described his ideal society?
To crush the other side.
Listen to this. This is the kind of guy that is just loving Ethan Klein's lawsuits.
I think, maybe this is controversial, but they have to crush the other side.
That's right. Oh, that's right. 100 fucking %.
You have to, because you can do one of two things. You cannot challenge the left
That's
and
right.
let them do their thing.
And then they're going to just run you over, and eventually when they get power, they're going to crush you.
Or you can utterly confront them and defeat them. And
you destroy them completely. Destroy everything about them. Put the mayors in jail. Put the governors up on the Insurrection Act for sedition. Put all of the people that were doing the shit in front of the detention centers. Put them in mandatory prison labor camps. Any of them that are violent, authorize the police officers to respond with violence to them. Immediately, completely shut it down. Bring in the military if you need to. Bring in the National Guard. Do whatever you need to do. Look and find out who's funding this. Take those people, charge them with incitement for terrorism, put them in Guantanamo.
By the way, Ethan says that his audience are left-wingers, that the people who like what he's doing on the internet are, you know, are like a community of leftists, and he just likes what Nick Fuentes says. I'm just trying to find the Asmongold ideal politics.
And this is the thing to me, right? I see this.
The largest political streamer. Where's the thing where he describes his political, ideals?
Globalist economy.
Principle, or simply because because of the state of the U.S. today. I'm anti...
I can smell this video from here. Yeah, I agree with you, MKMT. Thanks for the $2. Just listening to this man talking about how he wants the same kind of fascistic crackdown as an open avowed neo-Nazi, Nick Fuentes, is amazing. This is a guy who wants to take away voting rights for people. It's just insane. This guy is awful.
Long enough. Where's ours? Where's our end?
I'm not listening to this guy listen to Nick Fuentes anymore.
For example.
Okay, wait. Here it is. Here's what I was looking for.
It's making. Is that, for example, deporting illegals. I would want to use the military to deport every illegal alien in the country. That's what I would want to do. That's one example. Another example is that I would want to bring back insane asylums. I would want to bring back insane asylums and put crazy people in insane asylums.
Hashtag bring back lobotomies. This is, by the way, what leftist online communities look like.
That's another really big one. And I would reduce foreign aid by about 80%. Maybe not 100%. The goal would be 100%, but the beginning would be 80%.
Also, I love just reduce foreign aid because, yes, there are many things that Western countries should not be giving foreign aid to, but just like all foreign aid, amazing stuff.
I would completely remove any illegals from the census as well. I would even take people that were residents of the country. If they were not net positive taxpayers and they were not performing an essential job, I'd deport them too. Let me think.
Deport everyone so I can live in filth in my house.
Oh, I'd add 2 additional tax brackets for people that are wealthy, for people that are making above $5 and $10 million a year. That way you have to pay more money in taxes.
What would be the point in paying the taxes? You want everyone deported. Who's going to live there? Like, what is actually the point in any of this?
And let's see, besides that, I would double the amount of the money that we put on policing. I would do that instantly. And you don't perform an essential job? Well, no, I don't, but I'm also a citizen. So I wouldn't be deported because I'm not a resident. Like, that's why I said resident, not citizen. Learn to listen. Harsher punishment. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you steal from a store, instant mandatory prison time. Even if you stole a paintbrush.
This is also such a funny thing. What, like, just send every kid to jail because they just stole a paintbrush? Like, also, why are people stealing? I'm sorry, how is this going to address any of these countries? And also, psychiatric institutions. Like, also, what does he mean bringing back mental asylums? Like, it's just a really weird political spectrum of things you want. Bringing back mental asylums and increasing taxes to give more money to the police. To what? Fix America's problems. This is what happens when you live on the internet and in your room constantly. You don't think about any of the problems that you actually want addressed in your society.
Yep, you go to prison. The reason why, it's pretty simple. I don't want to live in a world where people steal. I don't
want to live in a world with violent fascists like Asmongold who want to deploy the military on everyone that they deem illegal and start taking away citizenship and tearing up the lives of people who have lived here for decades.
I want to live in a world where there's violence, hostility, aggression, and turmoil. And I don't think that most people do.
Yeah, except for when you called for the genocide of the Palestinian people, you know. Is that not violence, hostility, and aggression? You calling for the genocide of an entire other people? I don't know, bro.
So, just put them in jail. Simple. I'll do one more. I would make it to where every prisoner had an extended sentence by about 30 to 50%, and they could work in prison to reduce their sentence that got increased back down to what it was if they wanted to work in prison. And I would do mandatory prison labor.
Really interesting as well. Mandatory prison labor, but only if they want to work. Those things don't work together. But I think what's also pretty interesting about this is people are already forced into labor in prison. Most of the things that you desire here are being done by Trump, and they are not generally improving the lives of people.
And I would punish the people that wouldn't do it. I would put every single one of them to work. That's right. Community service? Yep, absolutely. And so, yeah, that's what I would do. Would you be president? Would you be authoritarian? I mean, I think people would say that I was, but I would actually be the most pro-freedom president ever. But I view the freedom of the people that are the 98 to 95% of the population that are being terrorized by the 2 to 5% of the population that are bad actors.
This guy is just horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Yeah, someone actually put this here. Deport residents who are net negative taxpayers. The man has admitted to being on Snap before. How quickly they forget. Doesn't he admit that he grew up, like, and he says previously, like, no one needs the amount of money that, like, I had or, like, I have, but yeah. After reading the comments of people unable to distinguish between resident and citizen, I must also include my previous policy of removing the right to vote from 80% of the population. What gives you the right to vote? Does he have a level of education? You grew up poor? Like, why do you think that anyone like you would have any right to vote? Like, I'm sorry, people like you would just be assigned to the dustbin of history in the society that you imagine. Which probably is for the best in the case of you specifically. And I know, because the reason I brought him up is because... Why can't I find Do Not Worry? Oh, it's because Anthony's at is. I just searched his name. Here you go. Anthony said, Ethan Klein, drop the lawsuits. You are ruining people's lives and your own life in the process. End this fucking cycle once and for all. All you do is talk shit about Ethan. Why would he look for your approval? Don't believe me? Search this and read the post yourself. You're not asking in good faith. You want to lie about and misrepresent someone while portraying yourself as the victim. He wasn't even portraying himself as the victim in the context of whatever they're talking about here. My approval is irrelevant at this point, but I used to be a huge fan of H3, and he inspired my entire show. If he drops the lawsuits, I would absolutely give him credit. Not sure how I'm making myself out to be the victim in this situation. Honest faith, do you think that the girls he's suing uploaded his videos in good faith? They definitely reacted to the video to criticize Ethan, but I do not believe that they reacted to it with the express purpose of stealing views and revenue. Frogan was a big part of the context puke. Of course she'd watch it. Ethan has personal reasons to sue these exact people. Yes, to sate the bloodlust of people like Asmongold. How do you reconcile that with the fact that they explicitly on video said that the exact things that you're saying that they didn't do? You can look it up and see yourself. Not that explicit to me, and they're far from the only ones who watched it, often providing more commentary than other streamers such as yourself. Regardless, suing someone for 150k and celebrating their financial ruin for a video reaction is slightly insane. Also, rip Asmondad. They said that they were doing it to specifically deprive him of revenue and views. How is that not explicit to you? Because it's obviously not going to have that impact. Like, is it? Like, is it really going to have that impact? Zach, he doesn't give a shit about copyright. He's just getting back at them because he thinks that they tanked his podcast, and you have personal beef with Kaceytron, so you're enjoying this for your own reasons. There's another way to solve this. He even refused settling with Kaceytron. This reply is the exact reason I hope Ethan sues them into poverty. It's so amazing as well that someone who experienced poverty growing up and ostensibly wants to see people pay more taxes is just a cruel bigot who would like to see people pushed down into poverty. Like, you would think that you would learn from that, and then you would move forward and hope that no one would be forced into poverty. But of course, he is just a fascist. He literally just wants a military authoritarian crackdown of people he does not like. He does not see that these fascistic policies go like where these fascistic policies end up going. He would rather live in this fantasy world of simple explanations of deport all illegals, tax and put everyone he doesn't like in mental asylums, and then everything will be fine. Surely at a certain point as well, you take a look in the mirror and you realize that, like, as Ethan Klein, this is the people who like your lawsuits. Anyone with decently leftist politics would just be like, nah, that's fucked up, and the litigious society that America is, and the way in which rich people can abuse the legal system to financially ruin and target people, poorer people than them, is actually a horrifying facet of American society. And also, by the way, saying that the majority are terrorized by the 2 to 5% is actually true, but the 2 to 5% are the wealthy of society who are terrorizing the majority of people who do not have that considerable amount of wealth. Of course, Ethan does not have the actual capacity to trouble all of American society, but it is kind of like a microcosm of what Israel, I mean, Ethan is a microcosm of the problem of left-wing Zionism or liberal Zionism, but in this context I'm talking more about how the rich in American society can just abuse people. Lying, gaslighting, and then hostility when pressed. You know what you're doing, and everyone else does too. You insult everyone's intelligence by engaging in such obvious manipulation. Also, he really thinks he's smart, Asmongold. Suing them into poverty for watching his dumb fucking video. Nice, yeah. That seems like a reasonable thing to wish upon someone. You clowns are just enjoying the show. Yes, Asmongold openly stated that what he wants is to see Amber Heard style clips. Like, Asmongold cut his teeth making videos like laughing at Amber Heard. And whatever you say about Amber Heard, categorically, she was abused by Johnny Depp. Like, categorically. The US trial is a joke that he was not found guilty for this kind of stuff, because look into it and look at the things that he did to Amber Heard. He violently attacked her. He abused her. He was so many years older than her. But then, no, we just have to listen to, you know, the guy who loves the punishment of Amber Heard tell us all about how Kaceytron should be sued into poverty. Hold on, I need to blow my nose. But also, like, just imagine, like, his argument is based on the idea that illegals are terrorizing the good American population. Whilst there are literally ICE raids going on in this country, that whilst they terrorize families, break them apart, target people unfairly and unjustly who have never committed a crime, invent Trenda Aragua tattoos, which basically, by the way, don't exist because the vast majority of arrested Trenda Aragua figures do not have tattoos. They do not flaunt the gang narco lifestyle, it's called. And yet he sits there and acts as if he's not being sated by administrations who give him exactly what he wants. You know? It's just so horrible. It's just so horrible and wicked. And that all of his fans hope for generational debt on others. And then they purport that it is like a leftist, wonderful community of loving and helpful and kind people who love Palestine, who love minorities, who love fighting against Trump. And this is like Ethan's biggest #1 fan. Of his lawsuit. Like, look at this as well. I assume that this is someone related to Kaceytron. Hi, Zach. Casey sacrificed her 20s to take care of our family. We had both of our childhood homes foreclosed on and spent 10 years living with constant housing instability. Our mum, who is deaf, had been trapped with her abuser who stalked her, beat her, and stabbed her 3 times. She probably wouldn't even be alive if Casey had not worked her ass off to buy that house. Our younger sister, who is disabled, was also a victim of that violence. I was able to leave my own abusive relationship because the stability Casey provided for our entire family, and when our father, who is physically disabled, facing homelessness and had nowhere to go, Casey took care of him. I know you also grew up in poverty, and despite your and Casey's differences, I find it pretty sad you would ever wish that kind of violence on our family. I wouldn't wish that on my worst fucking enemy. I don't even know you. Why are you wishing homelessness on our family for drama? Who asked? I don't care about, and if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't either. No, what you want, Asmongold, is just generational poverty being wished on people. You want violence and horrible things being inflicted on so many people. I disagree with Chris regarding Amber Heard. You shouldn't. You should not disagree with me with what happened on Amber Heard. Like, categorically, you shouldn't. Johnny Depp abused Amber Heard. He was found liable in the UK for doing it. And let's just read a text from Johnny Depp if you don't believe that he did these things. This is Stephen, who I think is Johnny Depp's assistant. Listen to this. He was appalled when I told him he kicked you. He cried. It was disgusting, and he knows it. That is a 50-year-old man dating a woman who I believe was in her 20s, who admits whose assistant admits he cried over on text having abused Amber Heard. He had a relationship with Marilyn Manson. He befriended Marilyn Manson and said accusations against Harvey Weinstein was implausible because his wife wasn't some hairy-backed bitch. Those are the words of Johnny Depp. His texts from earlier relationships refer to Heard as an idiot cow, a filthy... I probably won't repeat that. A worthless hooker, and he said, I'll smack that ugly C word around before I let her in, don't worry. Like, the things that this guy said were unbelievable. Like, you can look into this. This is no secret. And if you really want to read into this, I'd recommend this article and take a look into this. It was about punishing a woman and like, post-Me Too backlash. Categorically, there is so much information about what Johnny Depp did to Amber Heard, and people laughed at her on trial and loved it. Go and read into that. Go and read in what that man did and tell me that it does not sound like a textbook case. Like, I am not someone who has experienced domestic abuse. I am not someone who knows much about domestic abuse, frankly. But knowing a basic level, just look into this shit and look at the way that these people laughed at Amber Heard and made her a victim. Like, I'm sorry, and like, people thought that it was funny. This guy like sat there and laughed as Amber Heard poured out her heart. Just read about it, and the facts sit with Amber Heard. Like, I am sorry, I knew that there was some strange fucked up shit with this, but the more I read about it when I made my first video about Ethan Klein, I'm sorry, it really sits awfully with me. It sits awfully that this is the way in which our... that this is the way in which this was dealt with. The way in which this was dealt with. Like, Johnny Depp was a known problematic drunk and drug user. Like, undeniably, Johnny Depp was a problematic. This is not something that Amber Heard came up with. Listen to this. A shocking video that Heard filmed in their kitchen further shows Depp in the middle of a belligerent fit, drinking copiously, smashing cupboards and glasses in the sink, and grunting, "Motherfucker." Heard seems incredibly calm and even placatory. Not that this should matter. Mutual friend of the couple, Io Tillett White, testified that Depp would frequently confide suspicious, mean and offensive thoughts about Heard, especially when intoxicated. I thought, Jesus Christ, he told me all she's got is her looks. She has no talent. When her tits start to sag and her face gets wrinkled, no one is going to want to work with her. She better find another job. On an audio tape, Depp has been heard calling Heard a fat ass, to which she shoots back, "Lonely old man." This is another article detailing it. Burn the witch, an overdue defiance of Amber Heard in a maniacally misogynistic media. Emotional blackmail to avoid accountability. If she was supporting all those people, why would she so blatantly break the law and put her at risk? I feel like this is a great response. You react to videos all day, Zach. This is all this man does, reacts to videos on the internet. Like, let's be frank here. I don't personally think that these people siphoned off huge amounts of views from Ethan Klein. Don't view it as true. Don't think it's the case. Whether he wins the case or not, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. And like, Asmongold has the audacity to call Kaceytron the nastiest person in the world. They were both toxic. See, this argument about they were both toxic would really work a lot better if the law wasn't regularly evolving and was actually saying, hang on a second, in abusive situations where someone is abusing the other with a considerable power imbalance over said person, that the behavior of the victim is not equivalent to that of the abuser. The law has literally changed in the UK over this. There are cases where someone's son regularly talks about this. Her mother was, his mother was sent to prison for killing his father. But his father was like a violent abuser. Like a violent abuser. And his mother reached breaking point and eventually killed his father. And eventually the law changed massively. Like, the law changed massively. And granted, there are some things that, like, in all of these articles, they mention things about, like, Amber Heard's conduct, and perhaps, like, some of her conduct around Johnny Depp and his, like, addiction issues was not great. But at the same time, Johnny Depp was, what, in his 40s or 50s when he met a 20-year-old Amber Heard. They married in 2015, so he was in his 50s. I just find him to be abhorrent. But, like, yeah, and it's kind of like if you look at domestic abuse context, and I challenge anyone to do a basic reading of domestic abuse context, there are many examples where wives and partners engage in violence against their abuser after they reach breaking point. And as Tony Soprano lover notes, abuse experts say it again and again that there is no such thing as mutual abuse. There is an instigator of abuse who constantly perpetuates the cycle. The abused will occasionally fight back. Like, I'm sorry, you can say that Amber Heard did not conduct herself perfectly. In her private life, yes, but categorically when it comes to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, Johnny Depp was the violent abuser who held the power. There's a part where he threw his phone at her fucking face. Listen to this. The last straw was a series of escalating incidents in which he vanished for nearly a week. Then showed up late and drunk to her 30th birthday party, then blew up at her afterwards. In the middle of their final argument, he threw his face, hitting her in the cheek. He threw his phone at her face, hitting her in the cheek. She filed for divorce the next day and a restraining order a week later. The UK court found 14 cases where Johnny Depp abused her. And also, by the way, the funny thing is about the idea, of like, about Johnny Depp having his career ruined. Johnny Depp had already been ruining his own career through the addiction struggles that he had. Yeah. That's what this article talks about. It's called The Bleak Spectacle of Amber Heard Johnny Depp Trial. I would highly recommend reading this for anyone who's on the fence about this. She was 23. He was 46. One of the most powerful actors in the world. Let me just check. And also, by the way, here's the evidence that was laughed at in the face of by a streamer like Asmongold, who is apparently the reasonable voice that is, a right-wing commentator who wants fascism and the punishment of people he deems as inferior to him. Heard's injuries and the damage Depp caused to their homes are well documented. Heard took photos of herself in the later stages of the relationship, and her injuries in at least one red carpet picture. The LA Times report from the day she filed for her restraining order notes that she arrived at the courthouse with visible bruises. Contemporaneous communications. Both Heard and Depp's texts from their relationship confirm her basic outline of events. From the earliest incident of violence, Heard told friends and family members about his jealousy, his attacks, and his denials. The UK trial includes a text from Depp's assistant. This is the one I showed you already. About time someone spoke on this. There are many people who've spoken on this, but I won't stop talking about this because it is like an important thing. Both trials have featured numerous texts in which Depp admits to becoming a different person when drunk or high. Also, Longshot KDB, thanks for the £5. My illness somehow crept up and grabbed me, he said in a message to Heard. I, of course, pounded and displayed ugly colours to Amber on a recent journey. Says a message to a friend. His sister once texted Depp to say, stop drinking, stop coke, stop pills. Numerous people saw Heard with bruises and missing chunks of her hair. Depp's staffers testified to damage he caused to their homes and hotel rooms. Heard's acting coach says she had to schedule longer sessions with Heard to help her work through the trauma of the relationship. A makeup artist says she helped to cover the bruises. The final alleged abuse incident in which Depp allegedly threw his phone at Heard was witnessed in full by her friend on the other end of the call. Two more friends testified that they saw him acting aggressively towards her on one occasion, and her sister confirmed another. She also testified to the US trial that Depp also once held her dog out of the window of a moving car when he was drinking. Numerous audio recordings include tacit or explicit acknowledgement of Depp that he exploded in anger at Heard, as well as at some of the explosions themselves. In one, she says, I cry in my bedroom after I dumped you a week prior after you beat the shit out of me. Depp replies, I made a huge mistake. I won't do it again. In another, Heard says, put your cigarettes out on someone else. And Depp replies, shut up, fat ass. Does that sound like mutual abuse? I don't know. To me, I think the 50-year-old actor dating the 20-year-old woman who's nowhere near the same level of stardom as an actor might actually be the violent problem. Numerous audio... here we go. Heard surreptitiously recorded one of Depp's outbursts. He doesn't hit her. This isn't one of the incidents presented in the UK trial, but it shows his anger and how it interacts with alcohol consumption. This is a lot of documentation. Heard had more evidence in her favour than the vast majority of abuse victims and the bulk of celebrated, widely accepted Me Too cases. And that's not even the best reason to believe her. So far, the most convincing evidence is the big picture. We've heard Heard's evidence of individual incidents. Context matters. Domestic abuse cases and the context of one is Depp's well-documented history of misogyny, drug abuse, and violent outbursts. This has never been a secret. As early as 1989, he was responding to rumours of on-set tantrums, misbehaviour, and egotism while filming 21 Jump Street. A 1998 argument refers to the legendary Depp temper. In 2000, both Terry Gilliam, director of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and Mike Newell, Donnie Brasco, one of my favourite movies, goddammit, told the Esquire that he had blown up on their sets. He is so sweet the rest of the time, and just a couple of times he comes on like the blood beast of terror. Depp's temper and drug use have long been cast as a symbol of his rock star persona. His penchant for attacking paparazzi and trashing hotel rooms has been a mainstay of magazine profiles and late-night show appearances for years. Now that he's done with the Heard allegations, he will defend himself against a 2018 lawsuit filed by a crew member who claims Depp berated and punched him on the set of The City of Lies. Other aspects of Heard's testimony also align with well-documented patterns of abusive behaviour. Ellen Barkin, who friends with benefited Depp in the late 90s, said he was controlling, jealous, and once threw a wine bottle across the room in one of his rages. Another of his exes, Jennifer Grey, described him as crazy, jealous, and paranoid. There are anonymously sourced reports that he paid his first wife an extra $1.25 million not to disclose a phone message in which he repeatedly used the N-word. I have a lot of love inside of me, Depp said in 2000, but I also have a tremendous amount of anger. So here's another message. Good morning. Johnny destroyed Amber's closet, and there's some other damage to PH5. You're the lucky person I should talk to about that, correct? I suppose so. I'm up. Insanity. Just fucking insanity. We read these earlier of him talking about smacking her around. Another which I choose not to read here, calling his ex-wife the French extortionist. Flappy Fish Market. Scumbag gold-digging C-word. Call it bias if you want, but I simply don't find it difficult to believe that a troubled man with a history of a drug problem and violent outbursts, not to mention entitlement that comes with being a beloved and well-loved wealthy movie star, brought that pattern into his marriage. But yeah, this article's really good. You can read about the amount of information that's here. And by the way, Asmund Goldrick contributed to this. Amber Heard lies caught in 4K. I mean, also, by the way, Amber Heard has a child with Elon Musk, I believe. Or is alleged to have a child with Elon Musk, so another layer to this story. But yeah, I felt the need to cover that in the context, and I know it's kind of off topic for like Ethan Klein shit, but I don't know, for me it's not really, because this is the community he's cultivated, and this is what he wants to do. This is what his community wants. He wants to see women being punished. And think about also one of his biggest defenders that emerged specifically from this saga. Who was? Legal Mindset. Someone who is like a misogynist. Someone who absolutely adores, who had like a channel doing like sex tourism on a second channel, like encouraging people to get passports. And it's like, and is literally just a drama slop tuber. Hassan's animal abuse? Fast facts. Denims and Reddit in trouble? Fast facts. Nintendo forced to sue US government? Fast facts. Reddit is legally cooked? Fast facts. This is like one of Ethan's main defenders who was promoted by his channel. And yes, Nick DeOrio, someone who's had, like, we don't even need to mention what this guy is doing. But that's the thing. Like, Chris, you're king for pointing this out. When this was happening, I didn't bother reading into it. I was just like, oh, they're both bad and blah, blah, fucking blah. But then, like, a few years later, I saw this, like, long Twitter thread of people talking about what's going on with this, and they like pointed out some inconsistencies. And so then I looked into it, and I looked into it more, and you can read this up. I am sorry, it is outrageous the way in which this was framed. And also, by the way, like, I don't necessarily think that, like, you don't have to like Amber Heard as a person, or like really any celebrity. The point and the problem of, like, why I think that this matters is it is an abusive dynamic where she is the victim of an abuser. Anyway, guys, I think that that's everything we're going to cover today. We've had, like, a long-ass stream, and I've been working a lot recently, and I really want to go watch Chelsea, I'm going to be honest. I know it kicks off in 30 minutes, but I kind of need a little bit of a chill evening. I'll let you guys know if I'm streaming tomorrow. I'll post on YouTube and I'll post in the Discord, which I forgot to do today. Thank you all for coming. And actually, sorry, why do people need to preface their sympathy for Heard with "I don't like her, it's weird"? I mean, yeah, it's not relevant to the context of abuse. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter in that. Like, not liking her is fine. It's like, I don't have a problem with not liking her, but like, it doesn't discount or change anything about the abuse. Yeah, and both of them have to pay each other. And that's also what troubles me about this fucking lawsuit. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed like the mixture of slop and stuff and, you know, well, it's not even slop, it's important stuff. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and a lovely rest of the evening. I'm now going to sit here in silence and wait for the thing to come on. And that's also what troubles me about this fucking lawsuit. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed like the mixture of slop and stuff and, you know, well, it's not even slop, it's important stuff. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and a lovely rest of the evening. I'm now going to sit here in silence and